Well. Hello once again, everyone. It's the Mythos Boys again with more Mythos podcast. I am Jingles Roscoe.
I'm Smiter Roscoe.
And once again, we have the Dark Lord Emperor himself, Pie Man.
Oh, sorry. I was listening to the tortured screams of the Demiurge.
Oh,
hi.
Beautiful.
Didn't mean to disturb you.
Yes, indeed. And we have our good buddy Josh.
I'm Josh?
You are Josh.
Okay.
And
Have I always been Josh?
He's always been Josh.
That doesn't sound right, but I'll roll with it.
That's the information I've got.
And today we have a very, very special guest. We have an old friend, possibly one of the biggest reasons why we actually got the podcast started in the first place. We have with us Big Will Holland. Say hello, Will.
What you gonna do, brothers and sisters, when the Mythos podcast runs wild on you? How's it going, everybody?
That was
pretty good.
I wasn't ready for that. That was needlessly aggressive. I feel personally attacked. And now I feel like I have to find a way to face off against Will at WrestleMania.
Yeah, Will. You've been making a lot of promises.
Listen, Will, I need you to bring it down a little bit. You're triggering everyone.
Sorry, Pie Man, go ahead. You were going, oh yeah, Will.
You said Miss Elizabeth would never be in a dangerous position. Promise, brother. Yeah, oh yeah.
It's enough to get me to the boiling point.
The boiling point.
So we've been
Hey, old man, hold on now. You can't break out the macho man. Yeah, you can't break out the macho man and let me get a sip of the tea, yeah.
Not
The
bad.
baby always rises to
Right?
the top, man. Yeah, dig it, yeah.
His Macho Man's really good.
It's one of the best I've ever heard.
Excellent.
I think my favorite thing about the Macho Man heavy breathing ASMR video is how, like, at the very end, after he says it's enough to get me to the boiling point, he looks like he's about to just break down in tears.
My favorite part is how on 3 separate occasions he reaches up to take off his glasses that he's no longer wearing.
Yes,
Right.
that's always great.
He's so used to them being on his face, he just keeps reaching for them even though they're no longer there.
It's true.
Oh yeah, I'm looking right into you, brother.
Have you guys ever seen the promos from when Macho Man teamed up with Ultimate Warrior?
No.
They
Yeah.
just scream and growl over each other. You can't make out anything.
It just sounds like a couple of hyenas, like, tearing their prey apart.
Essentially.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
Wasn't
Hey,
it
brother.
like the Ultimate Madness? Wasn't that the name of their team? Like the Ultimate Madness or something like
Yes,
that?
I believe it was Ultimate Madness.
That's a pretty good team name.
Were they? I don't know. Is it better than the what? The Mega Powers?
The Mega Powers? Oh, yes. You know why? Because you had promos like this. Hogan, we're going to deal with you, Hogan. You don't understand what I'm saying, Hulk Hogan. No one understands what I'm saying. Hulk Hogan. You know,
Guys,
it's
I
like,
miss Ultimate
you're right.
Warrior so much.
They need to bring Coke back to the WWE.
Just a little bit. Just
it
a little
significantly
bit.
improves the show.
Hey, Bretta. I understand you called us all here today for a very special reason.
I did call everybody here for a very, very special
This
reason.
council has been assembled
This
once
council, I needed to bring in an extra somebody for this particular conversation.
more about ...
No.
No? Oh, sorry. No, we're the Mythos podcast.
We're the
That's
Mythos
different. Yeah.
podcast now.
Sorry.
Stop plugging not our podcast.
Oh, sorry. You're so right. You're so right.
So, yes. Today, we've been wanting to get Will on the podcast for a while.
Really been just looking for excuses to find a way.
I was trying to find the perfect excuse, and by golly, I think I found it.
We found a really good one.
I think
I don't know if
found
it's the
it.
perfect one. I have the perfect one in mind for later, but that's something else.
Yes, I feel like I found the best one that we could possibly find. Guys, I understand that each of us here have a little bit of a fondness for comic books.
I do. I certainly do.
Yes, very much so.
Where would you get an idea like that?
Just
Yeah, who told you that crock of garbage?
What would lead you to believe that something like that?
And I'm also familiar with the fact that we all like movies as well.
I definitely love movies.
Yeah.
I've seen a movie or three.
I think
I'm sure Pie Man likes any movies that promote his agenda.
Only during the witching hour.
That's right.
I think we've already dedicated like 2 other entire podcast episodes just on movies. One on Star Wars.
Pretty close.
One on movies we watched growing up.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about comic book movies, and I wanted to bring Will in because I know that he watches them. He knows a lot about comic books. He knows a lot about the movies that have been coming out, starring some of our favorite comic book characters. And I wanted to just discuss a few things because there's been a few things that I've noticed about modern comic book films. Because we've had comic book movies for a little while, right? But with the rise of the MCU and being one of the most successful franchises in film history, like first it was Star Wars, like the MCU is just like right there, just raking in the cash, being critical commercial successes. But comic book movies weren't always that.
No.
As
This is true.
early as like 10 years ago, like if you would have told somebody, if you would have told me comic book movies are going to be the most successful film things ever, I wouldn't believe you.
Because at that point, I think we were just barely getting Iron Man.
Yeah,
And
Iron Man, the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, and before that, it was just Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Spider-Man and like the original
Dark Knight.
and the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And before that, it was the original Superman trilogy.
Superman Returns had come out as well.
Like, never mind the like Avengers themselves. If somebody told you that Iron Man was going to be one of the most successful franchises in the future, you'd punch them in the face.
Right. Despite, and I was the one telling people that was going to happen. That being said, I got punched in the face a lot.
Yeah, how's your face?
Well, thanks to reconstructive surgery, a lot of it has been able to be sort of like Play-Doh'd back into place.
But yeah, we still have a few people that try to capitalize on the comic book movies and try to capitalize on the success of them. Different companies that aren't funded by Disney, the mega corporation that it is, are trying their best to compete with the MCU to some success, almost no success.
Are you telling me that we're never going to see the completion of the Dark Universe?
I'm not saying no. We're never actually going to see the completion of the Dark
I
Universe.
want my remake of Monster Squad.
Where's our Monster Mash?
So Monster Squad actually wasn't owned by Universal.
Oh no!
No.
Wow.
They just used the Universal monsters.
Yep.
I
Fair enough.
just want to push that as the Dark Universe's Endgame / Infinity War.
Yeah,
right.
right. It was all building towards Monster Squad.
Yes, with the Avengers and all these films working together to create something amazing all together. All these different works coming together to make something as amazing as the Avengers films have been. I wanted to talk about our personal histories with comic book films, and like how comic book films have evolved to now us having more of a higher standard of what we expect from our comic book films. Like, we don't really let a whole lot slide these days when it comes to comic book movies. Like, we want higher quality films than we were okay with, say, back in the mid-2000s.
When we had to take what we could.
When we would just...
We were basically getting scraps.
We were getting what we could.
Yeah.
We're just happy to see Spawn on this big screen. That's it.
And
we're
film
just
critics were being all like, "You stupid babies, be happy with what you have."
Yeah, exactly.
So, first off, I would like us to talk about what are some, like, and this also includes, when I say comic book films, I don't just mean superhero movies, because, those are still obviously like a shining example. But I also want to talk about non-superhero films based on other comic
Like
books.
The Losers.
Like The Losers. Or
Anything that was a comic book that was then adapted into a movie.
Right.
Like Red.
Oh, and like even
Oh, yeah.
The Walking Dead, not a film series, but one of the most successful TV
Adaptations,
shows,
yeah.
live-action TV shows of all time.
It is successful.
Accepted due to a technicality.
No, people really like it.
People still really like it.
I don't, but people do. We'll let Will go ahead.
Yeah, let's let our guest go.
And Will, because he's our special guest. Will, could you tell us about some early comic book / superhero films that you can think of that you enjoyed in your younger days?
Early / comic book movies / well, see, my first exposure was more like comic book TV. So you had things like the Hulk that had comic book movies and things like that. You had other characters that would show up in those. So my first time really being exposed to like stuff like the Avengers was when you had Thor cross over into the Hulk show movies. And so you had Thor, and then one trial of the Hulk, and so then you had Daredevil show up. So that was the first time we had Daredevil. And so since that point, you know, you had a bunch of other movies. I mean, things like Sin City, which is one of the ones I love because I'm like, how did they take this world that was very print black and white and turn it into a movie? I love
yellow
Spawn,
sometimes.
Mr. Spawn.
You're right.
Well, that yellow bastard was indeed yellow, you know. So, which, you know, I mean, that was his name. That yellow bastard. I mean, one of the books was named after him. So
He was hard to look
but
at.
He was definitely yellow. Well, yeah, and he was. If you look at the books, he definitely looked. I don't know how they got the prosthetic. Like the prosthetics for Marv were very, very spot on to his Frank Miller's drawn version of him. And then the guy who played that yellow bastard's the same way. He was very, very much looked like the drawn versions of the characters. But I even remember watching Unbreakable. Even though Unbreakable technically isn't a comic book movie in the regard of a traditional sense, it very much is a superhero movie.
Close enough.
With kind of the whole origins.
Nope.
Even the bad guy with the whole. I mean, Sam Jackson makes enough comic book references in that movie that it should count anyway. You know, it points out like Dr. Octopus and different people that were friends of Peter at one point, and then eventually over time became enemies.
So could we consider Mallrats a comic book movie?
I would say so because I mean, come on, man, you got Stan Lee having a conversation about stuff and different things like that. I mean, Stan Lee's in the movie having a whole conversation. So
There is a
yeah,
comic book adaptation of Mallrats.
Don't defend that point.
Yeah,
No,
let's talk about movies that came out and then became comic books.
Let's
No,
talk
that'll
about
be-
movies
that'll be the next time.
That'll be the
Next
next
episode,
time. Sorry,
So,
Will. Please
but
continue.
that's okay. But for every Kingsman, for every Scott Pilgrim, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, you also had stuff like The Road to Perdition, which was a comic book movie that was very well received, but a lot of people didn't know it was a comic book movie.
That's right.
But again, you know, that was out there. But then also you had stuff like The Punisher with Dolph Lundgren, which was so
Oh,
disappointing.
yeah.
Oh man,
At no
I
point-
actually completely
at no
forgot
point-
about that.
At no point he wore a black shirt. That was about as close as we got to the Punisher. And I'm pretty sure he was blonde almost the whole entire movie. Until the very end, he dyes his hair black for a brief moment, but you never see the skull. You never see anything. And then, of course, we got the chain of the Punisher movies that came out later, where you had Thomas Jane in the first one, and then you had, you know, the other guy come in for Punisher Warzone. And then you got, of course, Spawn
Warzone.
The only thing.
Say what?
Go ahead.
I
You
was
tell him about your favorite thing about Warzone.
Is it my favorite thing about
We,
Warzone?
yeah, we love Warzone here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought you. What
we
was your
like
favorite thing about Warzone? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were. I thought you were just gonna go right into the big explosion.
I thought you were about to pick it up.
Oh.
No. Because I saw how
Guys,
excited you
did
got.
we all just drop the ball?
Yeah.
think everybody
Probably.
Yeah. Well, I thought
exposed
the
on
setup
screen.
was, you know, was okay. I got this favorite thing about Warzone, and then I was like, so what's that thing?
I thought
Let's redo it.
I thought Josh was gonna say something like, "Yeah, Warzone, where that guy gets blown up during parkour."
Yeah, mid-jump
Yeah.
parkour.
Yeah.
McGinty.
That's my favorite
That
thing
is
about Warzone.
that is some like impeccable aim with a grenade launcher.
That is probably my favorite part about Warzone. My second favorite part about Warzone is when they had the bad guy arrested, and
Yep.
Frank goes into the house and like you
He's
know
got the little kid in his
he's
arm.
got the little kid
Yeah.
in his arms, and he's like holding the kid, and the bad guy is cuffed, sitting in a chair, and while Frank is holding the child, he just turns the shotgun and blows the guy's face off. And the cop, he's like going to make the call to call the guy in, and he blows the guy's face off, and the cop is standing next to him. He's like, "God damn it, Castle!"
Or the beginning of that scene where he grabs like the goon that's looking out for him and punches his head off.
Yeah. No, he punched his head in.
Oh yeah,
Big difference.
close enough. There wasn't much head left.
No, yeah. The big point is that head was gone by the time he was done.
Love Warzone.
Yeah, Warzone's great, and I
Warzone
found
is
it to
great.
be like one of the better adaptations of Punisher, aside from the new Netflix show.
I agree. So, Will, go ahead and give us a couple more examples, and then we'll move to some of our
Yeah,
other
Yeah.
ones.
Okay, gotcha. So then, of course, another one of my favorite movies, rolling forward kind of into the land of the MCU and all that, of course, was Black Panther. Black Panther is one of my all-time favorite movies, period, as far as
Yeah.
a comic book movie goes.
A lot of people like that movie.
Then not only that, but also there's a scene in Batman v Superman that I love. I'm not gonna say I love the whole movie, but there's a scene
Whoa,
I'm with you with
okay.
that. I like parts of the movie.
when Batman is fighting near the end to get Martha out of the building.
Oh yeah, and he
It
takes
felt
on all those
very
guys.
Batman. Yeah, it felt like Batman Arkham City in the video games to me at that point.
Yeah.
That's the scene I love from that movie. Of course, Deadpool, came out. Deadpool's a thing
Right.
with his own bit of controversy and stuff, but it was still beautiful. That if you had told me, just like you guys mentioned about the whole, if you had told me the MCU itself would have been out there, if you had told me that the Deadpool movie would ever be made, I wouldn't have believed you. Even when we got that Wolverine movie, that X-Men movie with Wolverine in it, Origins, that I don't talk about much because that movie was pretty horrible in itself.
We got that
but
sweet
had-
Xbox 360 game from it.
That is true.
It's
Oh, there-
shocking how
well-
good that game is.
Look, I'm gonna say this now. My favorite Wolverine game was Wolverine's Revenge on PlayStation 2. Okay, Mark Hamill did
was
the
Mark
voice of
Hamill.
Wolverine.
Yep.
Mark Hamill did the voice of
Hamill
Wolverine.
played that one.
That's all I
Yeah.
need to know. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Yeah, that
and
takes
then
precedence.
we go there, and then of course Endgame and Infinity War, of course, just take it to a whole other level. And of course we got Black Widow coming out this year, and we've got other movies coming in. So I think that's going to be setting up a lot of stuff. And of course we've got Disney Plus, where now you have Falcon and Winter Soldier, you have WandaVision. You have all these other things that they're able to take and expand out from the movies into shows. So that's
Will.
really, really cool. So that's
Will.
kind of my... Yes.
I'm going to slow you down. I just wanted from your younger days.
Yeah, sorry, Will. Let's pump the brakes a little bit
I'm
there.
glad to see how passionate you are about comic book movies.
But you literally just went from Punisher, and now it's then we got
That being said, though,
WandaVision
that was a
coming.
very succinct history.
You don't understand. Will Holland got to think about his entire life when he
It's
starts talking
kinda-
about comics.
It's impressive more than anything.
Yeah,
But thank you, Will.
thank you, Will.
No problem. Sorry I went overboard there a little bit.
That's totally
Oh, yeah.
fine.
It's okay.
Totally fine.
I don't know how, but we wound up in Kansas.
That's
We
right.
started in Albuquerque, and
Well,
I
I
don't know
guess
how.
we'll have fun in Kansas.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's stuff to do out here.
I'll try and bring us back, I guess. Some comic book movies that I watched and really enjoyed when I was much younger. The one that really sticks out, well, two that really stick out to me, was the Tim Burton Batman, the first one. I didn't watch. I didn't watch Returns until many, many years later. But I watched. We still have an original VHS tape of the Tim Burton Batman.
Yeah, we do.
And we watched that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
My mom really enjoyed that film.
Oh yeah.
So our mom is funny in that when she watches a film that where an actor is a bad guy and is like crazy, like she can't watch other films with that actor being normal
Yeah.
ever again.
Yeah.
Because all she can think
wow.
about. So Jack Nicholson,
Brilliant Joker.
every time Jack Nicholson smiles in any movie, like mom just goes, ugh.
Yeah.
Because all she could think about is that weird prosthetic smile that he
Yeah.
had to wear for that film. And she obviously has been a longtime Michael Keaton fan.
Mm-hmm.
And that film really... Oh, she enjoyed that film a lot.
She really did.
And so that's one that I remember. Plus, I was born in '89, so I have like a connection with that film on that level. And so that was one of the early ones that I remember that we still watched a ton. And then I remember watching the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films when they came out in theaters. I remember watching them in theaters and owning copies of them. And for the longest time, I considered Spider-Man 2 to be one of my favorite comic book films of all time. And I still love it very dearly. I actually really love the Raimi films for what they've done. Looking back, I can really see a lot of the problems that they had. But I think a lot of people, much like me, kind of hold those films in pretty high regard and consider them pretty great films.
Like Trailblazers or something like that.
Yeah.
Right on.
So those are some early ones. Obviously, I've been watching, like Will, I've seen every MCU film so far.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I'm caught up on that, and as well as a bunch of other ones like Spawn and
Spawn was rad.
yeah, it was.
It looks terrible, but it was rad when it came out.
Yeah, I liked Spawn quite a bit back in the day, and yeah, there's a ton of others, but I think we'll get into those later.
All right, well, I'll pick this one up then. So, my movie history was a lot like Jingles, obviously, but I would say that some of my earliest superhero films that I really enjoyed were obviously the most prolific were the Spider-Man Sam Raimi films. But classic Superman, and then Superman 2 with Christopher Reeve. I mean, obviously, I wasn't alive when those movies came out, but I still managed to, just like Star Wars, catch them on replays at like friends' houses or something like that, and those were fantastic to me.
Did you ever see Quest for Peace?
I managed to avoid Quest for Peace.
Oh, that's too bad.
I know.
When I was hospitalized for a while, they had a marathon of all 4 of the Reeves films. And I for the first time, I watched Superman 3 and The Quest for Peace.
What was the name of the big Superman knockoff in that one? Like the
I feel
big
like
bad
it was
guy?
like Atomic Man or
Is it
something.
Atomic Man.
a Superman?
Superman.
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 It was like Atom Man or something like that. I don't
Something
remember.
like that.
He was a nuclear dude.
Yeah. And then they went and they fought on the moon.
He was in a nuclear mood.
I take it that was before they made the Atom.
No.
Oh.
Atom had the Atom and Atomic Man as 2 separate characters already existed.
I like the
before that.
idea that he's a ripoff of not only Superman but also a ripoff of the Atom.
Yeah. And that's tricky because the Atom is the shrinky guy.
Yeah.
But I also I thought those are probably my favorites those were my favorites until Iron Man came along. And then I was unnaturally obviously I'm naturally biased towards everything else because it wasn't Iron Man that I
It
wanted.
brought you to the new world.
It did. It did. It brought me everything that I wanted.
According to this, it was called Nuclear Man.
There you
Okay.
go. There you go.
I bet the MCU Iron Man movies coming out must have been such a self-affirming like choice for you, seeing them come out and see as good as they are.
You know, honestly, I have a hard time trying to put in. One of these days, I just might actually try it. But I have a hard time putting into words just how important those movies are to me, and how, self-affirming Iron Man as popular as a character as he is, like in the mainstream. How great that makes me feel, especially that it was good.
I can feel you on that.
Yeah, and
I'm still just mad that they never brought Crimson Dynamo in.
dude, they might actually finally bring in Crimson Dynamo.
Yep, there he is. That's him.
Yeah,
Mr.
the guy.
Nuclear.
Oh man,
Yep,
I remember that perm anywhere.
Oh yeah,
the Nuclear Man.
the Nuclear Man.
No, but when Iron Man 2 came out and there was a trailer for it, and they do they don't show him, but they have the voice clip, and I hear that Russian accent, and I just like yes Crimson
yes!
Dynamo, Crimson Dynamo.
Yeah.
we redid Whiplash. This is Whiplash now. It's like,
So
okay. Fine.
here's how excited I was about everything coming
Sorry,
out.
really
about-
quick. I
Yes,
just wanted to point out he had radioactive fingernails.
that's what it was.
Yeah, he grew claws.
Sorry, this is Nuclear Man.
Yeah, this is Nuclear Man.
Oh, man, look at that.
Oh boy, that's something special.
Yeah,
right
radioactive fingernails.
there. And he would scratch.
And scratch.
He would do a
But
scratch
it'd be a radioactive scratch, so
Yep.
you get all gross.
because
He scratches you and a nuclear explosion happens.
Superman had problems with nuclear things.
So, mind you, before the Iron Man films dropped, all I had was Iron Man Armored Adventures, and that, like, there are a lot of chunks of that are hit and miss.
Is that the one where it has Tony Stark and he has like the big robot hammer arm thing
No.
in the intro?
But I like the sound
No,
of it.
buddy, you're thinking about
Yeah.
the one even before that,
Oh, okay.
which was just called Iron Man. And I'm so grateful I finally showed Josh the intro
Yeah.
to that recently
It's
because
such-
he wasn't ready.
It was.
No,
it's
it's
such a raw primal opening.
Where it's just going, I am Iron Man.
Like a violent suit making.
Yep,
Just shirtless hammering.
shirtless hammering, long perm.
He was welding. I don't think he was wearing a mask.
No, not even a little bit. And he's just one hammer making, and with every strike of the hammer, you see the shadows cast on the walls, and each one of them is a different Iron Man armor.
I'm
That's
sad they
such a
didn't.
good intro.
I'm sad they didn't replicate that opening more as like a reference in Earth's Mightiest Heroes when he's making that suit with the dwarves.
Oh, right?
I would have been so good if some of those shots replicated that opening.
Oh, man.
Oh, I love that show so much. But you were talking about Armored Adventures.
Yes, so I, like, Armored Adventures and the Iron Man TV show, that's all I had up to that point. And then Iron Man the film dropped. And it completely changed everything for me. Because, and that was the only bits of standalone Iron Man media I had at that point. We didn't, even in Ultimate Alliance, the video game, like, Iron Man had to be part of a team of other stuff going on. But
Did you ever play the licensed game that came out for Iron Man or Iron Man 2?
no.
Good.
Yeah. Miniman broke it down for me. He was all like, the flying's good.
They had the best Iron Man voice actor of all time do Iron Man for those films. Eric Loomis,
Eric Loomis, yeah.
the guy that does Iron Man in Earth's Mightiest Heroes,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. I forgot about that.
because he sounds an awful lot like
RD squared.
RD squared.
Mm-hmm.
Redounger.
Yeah, I remember when I played, I think it was the Iron Man 2 game that I actually played. I remember thinking, wow, this voice sounds really familiar, but it's obviously not Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
Yep,
That's
Eric-
why.
that's why.
Eric Loomis.
Eric Loomis. He's
They-
a great guy.
Yeah.
And I'm mad whenever they get that other guy from Heroes to be Iron Man because I think he sounds like poop.
They get Siler.
No,
I don't
they
know.
get-
I never watched Heroes.
They get Peter
Nathan
Petrelli's
Petrelli,
brother. Nathan
the,
Petrelli.
the politician that could fly.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
The guy that flew the nuclear man into the sky.
That's right.
that's right.
And then he exploded.
But he really didn't, though. He came back.
It's okay. Yeah, he just discharged energy. That's all.
Oh boy, that show got messy near the end.
Oh,
It
boy,
started
did it get
strong.
messy.
And
It
then
started
fell
so
apart.
strong, and then it just got really messy. But anyway, yes, Sam Raimi, Spider-Man, Batman, and Iron Man. Iron Man, I would say, is the cap-off for me, because that was about the time, like, at that point I'm already growing up, and I'm
That was
like,
about senior year of high school.
yeah.
Well,
Great
for
stuff.
me, it would have been senior year.
Great stuff. So, what about you guys? What about comic book movies for you guys?
Well, I got some choice picks for you boys.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I do.
So, I had also seen the Christopher Reeve Superman films.
Right.
My mother was a fan of them, and so she showed them to me. I never really liked them that much. However, since you guys said TV counted, I watched.
I didn't say that, but continue.
Oh, who said that?
Will did.
Oh, well, I think it works because you mentioned Walking Dead.
Yeah, well, I just mentioned it.
Oh, whatever. I watched a lot of Lois and Clark.
Oh my gosh, I watched Lois and Clark too.
Yeah.
I liked Lois and Clark a
Yeah,
lot.
it was fun.
It was fun.
I still like it. I've watched a few reruns.
I legitimately want to go back and watch some more Lois and Clark.
I think it still holds up.
I saw reruns were being played. I don't remember when. It was like a couple years ago. And it's all like, come back for our marathon of Lois and Clark. And I'm like, yes, please.
Absolutely, I will.
Boy, Superman looks dopey in that.
Yeah, but
No.
he's a dopey nice guy.
He is a dopey nice
I mean,
guy.
it was TV though, so you keep that in mind budget wise.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick Cage was supposed to be Superman at one point.
Yes, he was. Have you seen the pictures of him?
I
that's
absolutely
right.
have.
Have you seen the pictures of him?
No.
Oh my gosh.
It's horrifying.
So, I remember hearing a tiny bit of, like, an interview about that. And I remember somebody telling us all, like, hey, did you see the script for that Superman movie you were going to be part of? He's like, I did. And Nick Cage described it as, it was going to be beautiful.
Yeah, he's really bummed he never got to actually go through.
It's
with the film.
crazy.
So they had
Coming from Nick Cage, I feel like that could mean anything.
a suit
The
fitting.
point.
Yeah. Here's another crazy thing about Nick Cage, amongst many things. His son's name is Jor-El.
No,
It's
Kal-El.
Kal-El.
Thank you. Like, he's such a big Superman fan, and I'm always sort of weirded out by that.
All they got was to the fitting phase.
Oh! Oh, I don't like it.
Yeah.
He looks like an action figure.
It
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, it was like a weird.
As was the style of the time.
latex
Yeah.
thing.
It looks like...
Didn't they go without the red underwear part too? Like they
That I
did
don't
the-
know. I can't find it.
I
in more
kind of
pictures.
remember it. Maybe I'm just remembering the cod piece, like the mold of the cod piece.
the cod piece lovingly made by Joel Schumacher.
But yes,
Oh, man. Sorry, please continue. Lois and Clark.
Lois and Clark. I always loved that show. Yes, it was extremely schlocky, but that was part of its charm.
Because it was supposed to be a fun little romance, wasn't
I
it?
don't see any.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See, yeah, there it is.
That suit looks like hard plastic, like skin of like a mannequin.
Yeah.
Tim
Like,
Burton
it
looks
doesn't look like he's
unhappy
meant to
with
move.
himself.
Tim Burton's thinking, oh, how did I get into this one?
It's like, oh, jeez.
I just want to make weirdo,
it
creepy
basically-
movies.
It reminds me of the Batman suits. From
I think that was
Yeah.
the idea.
the
It,
rubbery
it looks
kinda
like
look.
they have to wheel him around on like a dolly, like on on set.
They can't do action shots. He just stands there.
Imagine.
Yeah, but Lois and Clark, I liked it because it was sort of like a monster a day or a monster a week sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where it was just
Yeah.
a whole new story each episode.
Right.
And while there were the overarching narratives, it was something that I didn't feel you had to be too invested in to enjoy.
Yeah.
So it always appealed to me from a casual standpoint because I've never been a giant Superman fan.
Sure.
But then, have you guys ever heard of the comic book series Barbed Wire?
I have heard of the comic book series.
I don't think
Barbed
I
Wire.
I don't
have.
think I have.
Okay, it's about Barbara Wire, who lives in
Oh boy.
the dystopian future, and she runs like a gritty bar, but she's also a cool mercenary, like kick-ass. She's very much a product of the late '90s, early aughts bad girl tropes.
Gotcha.
But in 1994, I think, 94, they did a film adaptation starring Pamela Anderson.
What?
Yes, starring Pamela Anderson.
How did I not know this? That's crazy. That's almost as crazy as, like, before Gal Gadot showed up, we kept hearing about, like, attempts of adapting Wonder Woman, and they kept failing horribly.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's nuts.
yeah. It sounds like something you would hear. Yeah,
you, Bretta.
Oh, look at that
Oh.
cover.
Boy.
yeah. So comic, sweet, awesome. Movie, no.
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 You know what
terrible.
also movie? You know what was
Awful,
it?
awful movie. I hate it so much.
What about Judge Dredd? What about that?
I didn't actually see Judge Dredd until like I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So I'm going in chronological order.
Yeah, sorry. Yes.
Fair.
And then The Crow,
Whoa.
starring Brandon Lee.
Yeah.
And then never starring Brandon Lee ever again.
Yeah, because he died.
Because he died.
Oh man.
He politely declined to return for the 3 sequels by dying in a freak accident. During the filming of the
That's
first
one.
movie.
That's one way to sum up that tragedy.
But
He refused to return.
the Crow film, the first one at least with Brandon Lee, is actually pretty good. It's not a bad movie. I think it's worth a watch.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say the same for the sequels, like Crow, City of Angels, or the third one, which I don't remember the name of, or Crow, Wicked Prayer.
The Crow Salvation. Is that
And
the
then,
one?
then there was
Crow
a television
Genesis?
series that I also never saw. I don't remember what it was called,
That
though.
appears to have Khal Drogo in it.
Yeah, there was talk of Jason Momoa being in a Crow reboot. I don't know if that's still going to happen, though.
I just see a picture on here.
Yeah, well, that's probably why. But I never actually read The Crow per se, but I read a comic book series called Razor, which takes place in the Crow universe.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
she teams up with Crow on a couple of instances. So that was how I knew the Crow, and so I was like, I gotta see the movie. And it was great.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah, and then later on, I went back and I watched stuff like Dread, which, despite its flaws, I liked it.
What?
I like Judge Dredd.
And all of it's quick to throw my helmet away glory.
Yes, get rid of the helmet. You know, I don't want my face covered. I'm a big star, Mr. Stallone.
My facial features are greater iconography than this comic book character.
Exactly. But I did like the movie overall because I like the set pieces and the tone and the huge motorcycle that they put a bunch of big wooden plastic things on, and it was so heavy it couldn't go very fast, so all the shots he's all going slow. He's on the motorcycle, he's always riding like 5 miles an hour
I love it.
because the motorcycle doesn't go any faster.
The law is coming. He is the law, and it's coming pretty slow.
You could probably just outpace him. It's fine.
You probably outrun the law.
I like this image of the shirtless crow. It makes me laugh because his chest hair is crow shaped.
That's right.
He is
Oh,
the crow.
yeah. Crow had a crossover with Hack Slash. Cool.
Yeah.
I always meant to read it, but I never got around to it. And I keep forgetting it exists. And now you reminded me, so now I have to look for it again.
I happened to go by and see it. I was all like, "Oh, his chest hair is crow shaped." All right,
Right on.
that's fun.
I ended up watching. Have you guys ever seen the OG Avengers movie?
I have not.
Ooh.
Not the MCU
Oh,
movie.
like the with Sean Connery?
Was he? I only saw it one time, and so I don't remember a ton of it.
I can't remember if it had Uma Thurman or some other.
Oh
like,
no! This was like, I think this was made in the 80s,
Yeah?
and it was like a really cheapo movie.
Huh.
I don't remember if it was called The Avengers or not, but it had Captain America in it, and am I thinking of the Captain America?
It might be.
You
the
might be
Captain
thinking about the
America
Captain
film.
America movie.
Okay, I know what I was doing. I was adding Lou Ferrigno's
Hulk.
movies because there were a bunch of movie spin-offs, like
Yeah.
Will was saying,
Yeah.
and Thor.
Who showed up in the
Yes,
Hulk show for one
with
episode.
the terrible Captain America film.
Yep.
Okay, my bad. I made a huge mistake.
Yeah.
All of my nerd cred is gone.
Yeah.
I should just give up and go home.
Yep.
You don't
It's
have
just-
to worry about giving up. They're gonna get canceled. They'll do it for you.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, that's good to know. I don't have to put any effort in then.
Well, you're already handling it way better than others would. Like, at least you didn't say that Virgil and Dante from Devil May Cry fought shirtless in the rain.
Well, they did. They were old. They were
Right.
old too.
Sorry.
Yeah.
How right you are. How silly of me. What about you, Josh? If you're wrapping up, hi, man.
I suppose so. I did have one more movie I wanted
Yeah.
to bring up, but
Yeah.
but it's kind of a special separated thing that doesn't exist.
Ooh, I love the idea of a special
It
separated
doesn't
thing.
truly exist, so we'll
Nice.
bring it up later. We'll
All
let
right.
Josh go.
Cool. Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead, Josh.
Well, my experience with comic book movies early on was actually pretty sparse.
That's okay.
I didn't watch a ton of movies, much less comic book movies. I think the earliest ones I can think of, I forget which order I watched them in, but it was like the three of like the Tim Burton Batman movie and then the two Joel Schumacher movies, which I, as a kid, unironically loved, and that now as an adult have grown to ironically love.
Yes.
No, there's a lot to love about those films.
And like, I mean,
No.
despite their many flaws.
No.
There's a lot to love about this film.
Guys, no. You're being way too... Guys, no.
I like those films just for how intricate the sets are.
yeah.
Yes, the
If there's-
sets are pretty
Like
intricate.
the,
yeah.
the amount of artistry that went into those
That they
sets.
then completely destroy with Dutch shots.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh
Man,
boy.
if you could say anything
Oh man,
about
those Dutch angles.
yeah, those
Oh my gosh, those
yeah,
Dutch
the
angles.
the whole thing looks like it was filmed by like somebody that was drunk.
Oh yeah.
But
Well, I mean,
I think if you can say anything about those two Joel Schumacher movies, is at least they're the most like faithful adaptations of like Adam West Batman.
That's a fair point. It's a fair
Very
point.
Adam West Batman.
But
like.
yeah, I made you guys prepare with me by rewatching Batman and Robin before this.
Yeah, you did. Holy cow.
Man, I love that movie. Like, no joke, as a kid, I actually had a live action Mr. Freeze action figure that I played with all the time.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
It was like like an
Yes.
action figure of Arnie and like Blueface.
did it have like was it the one that had like the chrome
Yeah, it
chrome
was-
plating paint that chipped off really easily?
I
Yeah,
think you are.
it was.
The word you're looking for is die-cast metal.
Yes.
It was plastic. This was
Yeah.
not metal.
No, that's
That's the
it's-
term?
It's shiny plastic that
Yeah.
looks like metal.
Yeah.
It's called die-cast.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Oh.
Yeah.
How about
Okay.
It was incredibly popular.
Yeah,
in the
'cause I
90s.
remember- Because I remember it
lots
was-
and lots of action figures had it.
Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember it was a terrible action figure that had no articulation and the paint kept chipping off.
Yeah, but you could hold him and you could be all like,
Watch
the
out,
ice
the
man
dinosaurs!
cometh.
The Ice Age! Man, Arnie had so much fun making that movie.
Dude, when we were rewatching that with Josh, and like he did that line, Josh was all like, he's like, yeah.
Yeah, his suit isn't battery powered with like a diamond lens. It is diamond powered, which means the diamond runs out and he has to put more in there.
I don't even know what happens to the diamonds.
It
when...
burns up using the suit, making it cold.
I don't know why.
Because diamonds make things cold because they look like ice, kind of.
Yeah.
Ice to see you.
I think Will's coming back.
It sounds like he's back.
Oh, he
I
came
am
back
back.
right at the right time.
Oh yes.
He has returned!
Oh,
Hold
well.
on. So,
You're
Will.
here just in time to talk with us about the Joel Schumacher Batman movies.
yeah.
Oh gosh.
That's right.
Nice to see you.
Everybody, chill.
So, in preparation of this very podcast episode, Smiter, Josh, and I rewatched Batman and Robin just so that it was fresh in our minds.
Bane.
Oh yeah, Bane.
Yeah.
Oh
my
gosh.
I loved the design, but I hated the entire character. It
So-
disappointed me so much.
So here's what's kind of funny is that one of the other Roscoe brothers is a huge fan of Batman.
Big
he
old fan.
loves Batman, and one of his favorite characters out of the entire Rogues Gallery was Bane, because just of how deadly of a character that was. Before Bane, no other character had actually defeated Batman. Bane was the first
Right.
man to ever break the bat.
Yeah.
And so because of that, he's been held in a high regard every single time that he's
There's
brought up
entire
the conversation.
comic arcs based on the aftermath of that.
Exactly. So, enter Batman and Robin.
Yeah, I know. And you're
Yeah.
all hyped up, ready for him.
He's
I
just
know.
a genetically mutated like dog
He
with
is.
like big muscles.
I remember when we were rewatching it, Josh turned to Jingles and I, and he was all like, isn't Bane supposed to be smart? Or like, he's a super genius.
Like, wasn't he like one of like the few Batman villains who was able to just on his own deduce Batman's identity?
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, that shouldn't be that difficult. But
You would think.
Yeah, regardless of that, he broke the bat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's such a good arc. That is such a good arc. Yep. But yes, sorry, the Joel Schumacher Batman films.
Yeah, so those are those are like the earliest comic book movies I can think of that I watched when I was younger.
Well, those are beautiful choices for first
Yeah.
comic book films.
Danny Elfman killed it, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good
It was-
composer.
It was a good score. I just loved all of the all the sort of side roles that all these actors from other stuff were in, like Pee Wee Herman
Oh, right.
as Daddy Penguin.
Oh, man.
Also,
Yeah.
also, like after Mr. Freeze gets his diamond, he goes all the way to space, not to a secret
Oh,
base,
dude.
not to further his plan. He went to space to kill Batman, and then just went right back to Gotham.
This is the very beginning of the movie.
His plan to kill Batman was to just take him into space.
He took off in this weird little rocket, and Batman was like, I'll stop him. And then they get up like into the upper atmosphere, and Freeze is all like, never mind, this wasn't my plan the whole time. Die, Batman. And then he leaves.
Yeah. It's like, and then Robin saves him, and he's like, "How dare you save me?"
Yep. Why don't you believe that I can take care of myself, Batman? Gosh, Batman, leave me alone. You're not my real dad.
I got it, Batman. You don't have to worry about me. I got my rubber lips.
The rubber lips.
Oh man, the
Yeah, he
rubber
then
lips thing.
takes off, and I mean, Poison Ivy could just kiss him forcibly again, but then she doesn't.
Nope.
She instead chooses to get into a knife fight with Batgirl.
Yes.
Look, you have to remember, this is Uma Thurman pre-Kill Bill, so she wasn't super awesomely wicked, able to fight everybody on the planet.
Oh yeah, she didn't get her training until later.
She didn't get her Hattori Hanzo blade until after.
Oh yeah, Kill Bill counts as a comic book movie.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it does.
You guys have never read the Kill Bill
I've
comic?
never read the comic.
Oh.
Wow.
okay.
That would explain why the cover of the movies looks so much like
Like a comic.
Like a comic book
Yeah,
cover.
yeah, that would explain it.
I always forget that Kill Bill is a comic book movie because
Yeah.
the movie was so much more popular than
Oh,
the
yeah.
actual
Oh,
movie.
Like
man,
Road to
was it?
Perdition.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same thing. 300
Well, I
too.
mean, Big Hero,
Yeah.
Yeah, 300.
Big Hero 6 was actually a comic book movie, but the comic was very different from the actual animated movie that we got.
It's
Yes.
so different. It's so different.
I did see the comic of Big Hero 6 before the movie came out.
And Baymax looked nothing like that.
No,
He actually looked like a monster.
A horrible,
Yeah.
horrible.
He was like this weird sort of dragon golem thing.
Mm-hmm.
He could
And
breathe
here's the thing
fire.
that's even funny. You talk about things being different. You know, you guys talked about Scott Pilgrim. last week, and I gotta say right off the bat, first of all, don't insult the Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim is one of my favorite movies ever.
It's not bad, right?
It's not a bad film.
It's a great movie. I enjoy it for what it is and what it isn't. I just recently got the first 2 volumes of the Scott Pilgrim printed up by Only Press back when Only Press was nothing.
Yep.
Back when Only Press was just getting started. And here's the one big difference between the movie and the comics, which was that with the comics, you're basically going through winter. You're basically going through a year-long process.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the beginning of the book, it's winter. At the end of the whole entire series in book 6, it's winter again. So each book is basically a different season between. So you have different seasons changing in and out with things. Like the first issue ends with him fighting Patel.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the first issue of the arc in the original book. So what's funny to me is, you got this movie that's like an hour and a half or whatever, that basically tries to put all these fights into one major thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we live in a world where I don't know that they would have settled for little small mini movies of this, but I think it would have benefited a lot better.
Exactly.
That would have never happened, especially then. But I love Scott Pilgrim what it is, what it isn't. But when you look at the books, it's just like there's so many things that, like the whole Pac-Man, Puckman joke, is nowhere in the books.
No.
They literally added that to the movie because they were like, well, we can't make everything Canadian. Because we make everything Canadian, half of the audience isn't going to understand it.
I disagree with that notion, but continue.
Yes. Also, brief sidebar. You guys remember how fast the last Airbender movie was?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that was a breakneck
Well, they crammed
movie.
a whole season of TV into an hour and a half.
I know.
I
You don't understand. We need to go now.
I performed a small lobotomy to remove most of my memory of that film, so all I know is that it exists now.
We'll trap the Earthbenders on this Earth-made prison. They have no weapons.
They have no weapons.
They took away their
They
weapons.
can't fight back.
Look, I'm going to say this. M. Night Shyamalan got sued by the Indian Defamation League because he made the bad guys Indians from India.
Did he?
Like, that should tell you, yes, he got sued by the Indian Defamation League. Because they were like, the source material doesn't even suggest they're Indian. Why would you make the bad guys Indian? You're Indian!
The source material, according to the source material, the Fire Nation's supposed to be Japan.
Yeah, just Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
That being said, though, getting sued by the Indian Defamation League is not very hard.
And I think they won. Like, I think they won the lawsuit against him, or he might have settled out of court. I don't think he ended up going to court over it.
I think they settled.
Because he is of Indian descent, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It was just like he casted like the big one of the big stars from Slumdog Millionaire to be oh goodness, why can't I think of his name?
Zuko?
The one that was chasing to be Zuko, yeah. And it's like, in a world where you have Mark Hamill, who's still very much alive, why don't you just cast it the way the show did it? But M. Night Shyamalan claimed he was this big fan of the show. He gave us this horrible movie.
Hey, you could be a big fan of something and still make poopy products. I mean, let's look at what J.J. Abrams has done.
All right, fair enough.
We'll look at just read fan fiction.
I like the Joel
J.J.
Schumacher
Abrams
movies. Those are not good.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, look, J.J. Abrams has managed to redefine his love affair for the lens flare, okay? That's all we need to know, because the lens flare is apparently in every film he does.
Yeah.
I also just want to touch on the Indian Defamation League thing, which is, so does that mean that you're just not allowed to have any bad guys be Indian ever? Do they always have to be the good guys in that case?
What do they do for Bollywood films?
Oh.
Yeah, where everyone's Indian.
Yeah.
Because you only have bad guys that are Indians in Bollywood
Those
films.
are bad guy Indians. Should they sue them?
I don't think they really pay that much attention.
Yeah, right? Are you telling me that they nitpick high-profile stuff? Is that all that they do?
I'm thinking that when the good guys are white and the bad guys are Indians, that's the moment they start getting concerned.
Like I said, I blotted that movie out of my brain. But are the good guys white in that? I don't really remember.
They are cast.
Was there
as
even
white actors?
Katara and
they are predominantly white actors. Yeah.
Was there even a Last Airbender movie?
I think the actor for that
I
played
wish there
Aang
wasn't.
wasn't.
He's white.
Is he?
He's very white.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy.
I mean, but
really?
so is.
I don't know who.
Am I
played
thinking
him,
of a
so that's
different
why.
movie?
Hey guys,
or something? I
guys,
must be.
did you know that Dragon Ball Evolution is technically a comic book movie?
I was gonna
It
bring
is.
that up earlier, you loser. Yeah, I was gonna bring that up earlier.
also cast a white guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Goku. But then cast Chow Yun Fat as was he
Master
Master
Roshi.
Roshi? Or
He was
was
Master
he
Roshi.
Master Roshi?
Guys, you don't get
And,
it.
you know-
You don't get it. Inside of Goku is Ozuru. In order for him to be one, he must be two.
What did you just say?
A direct line
you-
from the movie.
Do you know what that
That's right. He
means?
literally just quoted the
That's
movie.
Goku accepting Ozuru within himself. And oh, Pie-Man, I'm
Guys.
so sorry.
Who's Ozuru?
Guys,
I'm starting to
guys,
get chills.
did you know that the Kamehameha is the highest form of airbending?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, the
gosh.
the hand farts.
Oh,
The hand
gosh.
farts.
My head hurts.
My vision's getting a little bleary.
Why is that movie so bad?
Oh, it's so bad.
I think Pieman's currently
look, the
suffering a
only-
cringe seizure.
The only redeeming thing in that whole entire movie is that Jamie Chung plays Chi-Chi. That's it.
It's plays Chun-Li.
You almost said Chun-Li.
I almost did say
Goku's
Chun-Li.
wife,
And here's the-
Chun-Li.
Okay, but here's the thing. You're right. I did almost say Chun-Li. You know why? Because technically, The Legend of Chun-Li is a comic book movie too.
How do you say?
Done by that one girl that was in Smallville.
No, I know.
Because by the time they came out with that movie, they already had comics out. And I mean, you can technically say it's a video game / comic book movie.
It's a.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and just say nah on that, bro.
There you go.
I don't know about that one.
I'm gonna say it's Street Fighter is a video game and had multiple adaptations made of it, of
enough.
different sources, and
Yeah.
the comics are just one of the many things.
Yeah, so if anything, the comic books are like an adaptation of the video game.
Yes,
And honestly, why would you want to talk about the Legend of Chun-Li anyway?
I mean
Because I almost said Chun-Li when I was talking about Jamie Chung being Chi-Chi.
we had to talk about Chun-Li.
Yeah, Chi-Chi played by Chun-Li.
We had to bring
I
Chun-Li
love
into
it.
this somehow.
Chun-Li played by Chi-Chi.
Led by Chow Yun Fat.
I love Chow Yun Fat.
He's such a nice
I love
guy.
Chow Yun Fat. I love Chow Yun Fat in Replacement Killers. I love Chow Yun Fat in the majority of the movies he's been in. Not
Is that a
one.
comic book movie? If you
one,
really think
Replacement
about it,
Killers?
everything is a comic book movie.
Is that a comic book?
book movie?
All right,
Oh, I've got another comic book movie I'd like to bring up
all right.
Go
real
ahead.
quick. I Kill Giants.
What's that?
I Kill Giants.
I Kill Giants.
I'm
That's
not familiar.
that's
It's a
really
movie.
new.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Yeah.
It's a comic book. It was done back in the early 2000s, originally by Joe Kelly, and then they did a movie adaptation of it a few years ago. The movie's actually on Hulu now, and they did a really good, faithful adaptation of it. Basically, it's the story of a girl who has a weapon named Koliaski after a great pitcher for the Yankees that slew the Giants, and so you never really determine if the monsters she's fighting are real monsters or if they're monsters for her until near the end of the book, where you realize that like a rock troll basically shows up and like everybody sees it. So at this point, it's just like she's not crazy. This thing's real, but there's just beauty in it. Oh my gosh, it's such a beautiful story because she's dealing with issues with her parents, her sister. She's lashing out, and you don't really know why. I don't want to spoil it if you've not watched the movie or read the book, but you need to watch the movie and or read the book because it's a beautiful story with a real hero who she's not always the most heroic. Sometimes she's a bit of a douche, but that's because she doesn't understand how to deal with her feelings as it relates to things that are going on around her. So she doesn't always respond the best way.
Is her weapon a baseball bat?
It is.
Okay.
No, it's technically it becomes like a staff, but initially it looks like a purse to the normal eye, and then she pulls this big gigantic hammer out of it near the end.
Okay.
I was gonna say a baseball bat's not a bad weapon.
Mm-hmm.
It's been proven effective in many situations.
Yep.
So I would highly recommend that one to people. I Killed Giants. So the movie's really good. Like I said, they cast. It looks like they literally were able to take the book and say, okay, we're going to cast actors and actresses who can look like this. And they kind of cast everything. I think Zoe Salander plays the counselor for her. Like, she's got a school counselor that she's trying to deal with this stuff with. And so there's just issues going on at home and different things like that. Meanwhile, she has this really good friend that kind of comes along for this crazy adventure, where she's basically talking about doing all these gross things to make sure the giants don't follow them. You know, so for a lot of time, like I said, she's seeing stuff that other people aren't seeing. So you don't know whether they're real or if it's just stuff that she's dealing with. But then you come to find out that apparently the stuff she's seeing really does exist. So.
Anyway,
What?
you were what?
No, I was just
Oh,
I-
yeah,
I-
you're
I
like,
hadn't-
yeah.
I had never
Geez,
heard of
right?
that one.
I've
Yeah.
never heard of it
Yeah,
either.
I've never heard
Yeah.
of that either. That's cool.
Probably keep my eyes open.
You looked like you had something you were about to bring up.
No, I was just getting ready to move on.
Yeah.
If we've all
Yeah, so
talked about old films.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Now that we've talked about some of our first comic book movies that we've experienced, what's everyone's favorite comic book movie that they've seen?
Oh.
Because for me, because as I mentioned, my experience with comic book movies was pretty sparse, pretty much up until I watched the MCU Avengers movie. But I think my favorite one that I've seen of the ones that I've seen like up until now is I'd probably give to Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
I'm gonna say Endgame.
Endgame? That's solid
I
choice.
mean, it's incredibly safe choice.
Yeah.
But I have my own intensely personal reasons for
Yeah.
picking that. A lot of it has to do with just for lack of a better word, marveling at the incredible way that they stuck the landing of this finale.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, they stuck it hard.
yeah.
It's not often that you see something built up so much actually stick the landing.
Right.
True.
Right. Because everybody was worried about, oh man, what if the Avengers sucks? And then after that
Yeah.
was fantastic, everybody was like, oh man, what if the next Avengers movie sucks?
And it kind of did.
And you know, it wasn't awful, but it certainly wasn't as good as, you know, the first Avengers movie.
One, if you're gonna have multiple Avengers movie, one of them is going to be the worst of the bunch.
Right. And ironically, I sort of consider Civil War a honorary Avengers movie.
I think most people do.
Yeah.
And then Infinity War was fantastic, and then followed up by Endgame. I
Yeah.
was just having a fantastic time all throughout.
I love when the bad guy won. That was the
Yeah,
best part.
I think weren't you saying like right afterwards?
Infinity
You were
War.
all like right after Infinity War, we're like, man, can't wait for the next movie. And Pieman was all like, no, I don't think we need to see it. I don't think we need to see it. The
No.
bad guy won. That's good.
No, I
No,
could I
the
could
good
do
guy
without
won this
Endgame.
time.
I could just leave it right at Infinity War. That was what I wanted.
You
They
would-
gave me exactly what I wanted.
You and your space emperors.
So here's my question in that, Pie Man. Did you feel like when you watched Empire Strikes Back, did you feel the same way?
Well, not really, because it didn't feel like an ultimate victory for the Empire at that point.
They didn't crush those
they
rebel scum
they could have
enough.
cleaned up better. but I think Thanos' his win in Infinity War is it seemed, at least for the movie itself, to be pretty eternal of a win.
The bigger question is, all like, Pieman, how did you feel at the end of Revenge of the Sith when the Empire was finally established?
Well, that was cool, but it was offset by the fact that like I left the theater thinking something's wrong.
Some fundamental piece of you was missing.
Okay, so can I share something? Can I share something real quick in the land of the Star Wars lore since you brought that up?
Yes.
Oh, we talked about
Oh,
Star
no.
Wars again. Darn it!
We can't get away
Well, we
from
talked
it.
about wrestling at the beginning. Might as well do Star Wars.
Yep.
Okay, so when Obi-Wan and Anakin are fighting, and you've got that famous scene that everybody's memed to death, I've got the high ground, Anakin.
Yeah.
Okay, and they go through the whole thing. Go back to, I believe it was Return of the Jedi, when Luke and Darth Vader are fighting. There's a moment where Luke is under Vader. he jumps up, but when he goes to go over the top of Vader, he goes up over him and then comes around to strike Vader. And Vader blocks it and says, Obi-Wan has trained you well.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
You think that's a...
nod to the original idea in the third movie when he says, I've got the high ground, because Obi-Wan was able to take advantage because whereas Vader at that point, because he's no longer Anakin, Vader jumped straight towards Obi-Wan. So because he jumped straight towards Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan had the advantage of the higher ground. But Luke jumping over Vader, now he has to turn to compensate for what's coming at him. So basically, Vader is able to say at that point, Obi-Wan trained you well.
So I'm gonna say, I think I think that's just more a case of like the meme fitting in to a specific situation by coincidence rather than like being an intentional reference.
I don't want to deflate your balloon, but I don't really think that's the case.
That being said, though, it is a neat crevice for that meme to fit into.
It's a neat coincidence.
Yes.
This is what I have to say. I refuse to give George Lucas more credit.
Oh dear. Okay.
He claims he knew everything from the beginning. That was a lie.
Yeah.
Because there are multiple instances when it is shown that no, he did not.
Yeah. Yeah.
He did not have everything planned out from the beginning.
Yeah.
What? George Lucas wasn't on top of everything? Really?
No.
Oh, okay.
So, it is neat that it is an interesting coincidence that happens to be the case. But I refuse to believe that George Lucas thought was that clever.
I think what he's saying more than anything is like Vader was surprised to see how adept Luke was with the Force in that like moment.
That I will say.
We refuse.
That being said, though, it is funny that he says that while Luke is above him.
I think it's a fun reference in hindsight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
It obviously wasn't planned out that
and
way.
I don't
What are you
mean
talking about? George Lucas planned it.
From the beginning.
from the beginning. I could see it in my head, just me sort of hands up going, now Will, I don't want to deflate your balloon, and then just ignites red lightsaber. It's treason then.
I saw a picture online somebody had posted of when Palpatine is gonna do that lunging attack.
Yeah.
And he's posed back with his lightsaber near the side of his face.
Oh yeah.
And also a picture of Rey
Yeah, I've
also
seen that,
posed the exact same way.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is when you first see them both ignite their lightsabers for the first time. And people were just all like, it's a funny coincidence. Don't try and say that they had this planned out.
No, that was the plan from the beginning.
That was the plan for
Nobody's ever truly gone.
Nobody's ever truly gone. I'm like, don't give them more credit than that. Because they did not have that planned out from before.
Somehow, Palpatine. Somehow.
And then cue the rolling darkness at...
Okay, let's
Anyway,
circle back. Let's circle back.
Favorite
comic book movie, Avengers Endgame for me.
So I'd say for me, it's probably a three-way tie between Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man 2, and Avengers Endgame.
Was Spider-Man Homecoming good? I never saw it, and I was afraid it was going to be terrible.
It was hot poopy.
I loved it.
It was the worst movie ever made.
I was so stoked because I
imagine barbed wire and then make it badder.
Oh God, he mentioned barbed wire.
We did
Don't
talk
call me
about
babe.
barbed wire.
Yeah,
Don't call me babe.
With the rating of that movie was like PG-13, and so they tried to go like sexy quips, but they couldn't go too far with it. So it was all tame and dumb.
Yeah.
With Pamela
I'm
Anderson.
sorry, dude. They started off the movie with Pamela Anderson pole dancing, and then they sprayed her down with water.
Well, yeah, they do
And
that.
a black.
She has to do that in everything she's in. Have you ever seen Stripperella?
It's part
That's
of her
true.
contract.
Yeah.
Even when she's animated, even when she's not even actually acting, they have to do that.
Right.
They have to spray her down with a water hose just to get her to be on stage.
Yes. As a longtime fan of Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2 was my favorite for a very long time. Homecoming was really, really good.
Yeah.
But Avengers Endgame
It's monumental.
It's yes, it's monumental. But to me, it just did so many things right and well and put it all together in such a good way that I was just like I can't say otherwise.
Hard pressed to complain about it.
But for a long time I was saying that the movie, the MCU movie that impressed me the most was Guardians of the Galaxy 1, in that I was shocked by the quality of that movie, because it shouldn't have been as good as it was. But they had a lot of people do a lot of things right, and James Gunn be amazing and really create something incredible out of characters that, let's be honest, even comic book Marvel fans didn't really care that much about.
Like, you think people didn't care about Iron Man before? Oh boy.
Oh boy. Look, I knew about Drax, and I did not like Drax back in the day.
Guardians of the Galaxy 1 came out, I had no idea who those guys even were. I saw the commercials, turned to Jingles and Spider and said, who are these guys?
Or like, oh, well, that's Groot, and that's Rocket Raccoon, and that's Star-Lord, and that's it.
And then I watched that movie, and I think the Guardians might be like my favorite hero group of the ones that we have in the MCU now. Like, I really
they're
love
a solid
that movie.
pick.
They're very
And
good.
like obviously, like, I also really loved Endgame. Like, I would put that like really up there with my favorite comic book movies that I have seen. But like, I really personally like Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
It's a good point.
Because that movie is such a perfect sequel to that first Guardians movie. And I also really appreciate the shifted focus onto like personal stakes rather than just solely focusing on like the bad guy.
You know, I would probably agree.
I think like everybody on the crew got like a really great character arc that kind of started and ended in that movie. And
Dave Bautista just powerbombed that performance.
Holy cow, Dave
did.
Bautista was fantastic in Volume 2.
yeah.
Yes.
Holy cow! I was just revisiting moments of that in my head, and I love that line where Dave Bautista is like going into way too much detail about his parents to Star-Lord. He is like, "Oh, that's disgusting," and Dave Bautista is all like, "No, it wasn't. It was beautiful. You Earthers have some hang-ups."
And for all the people that also like crap all over Star-Lord for punching Thanos in the face in like that in like anger in Infinity War, saying like that doesn't make sense. I think Guardians of the Galaxy 2 actually does set up the precedent that he would do something that stupid, because he already does that in the movie when his dad reveals that he was the one who killed his mom, and then he just starts blasting him.
Yeah. Here's the great thing about Infinity War is like in everybody's Infinity War is eventually all about everyone fails.
Yeah.
On an individual level, Iron Man fails, Star-Lord fails, Thor fails, and everybody fails, and because of that, Thanos wins.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
He wins big
Thor
time.
was the closest.
Yeah.
Like he
messed up.
Like, ostensibly, he should have won that, but he didn't go for the head.
Exactly. That's the thing. How has Thor dealt with villains up to that point? He boasts at them first, and then he defeats them.
Yeah.
And that his way of doing it before is what cut himself off at the knees. And it's such a brilliant piece of writing, and it's still consistent with everybody's story arcs. Iron Man failed because he wanted to go solo, because he didn't want to rely on his team anymore because of what happened in Civil War. And Star-Lord acted the way that he did because of what happened in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
So, like, him acting like that does make sense.
If he's gonna act like an emotional man-child, it's because he's already been an emotional man-child in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Oh my gosh, guys! They wrote a bunch of movies to tie together and make a really compelling overall narrative. And they're so
it's so good.
I love comic book movies.
I love it so much.
So we all agree that we all like the MCU.
Yeah.
Overall, yes. I'm a hot take. I don't like every MCU movie. In fact, there's quite a few.
What?
What?
Are you
I
trying to tell me that Thor 2 isn't perfect?
Yeah.
I want to say hot take. I haven't seen all the MCU movies.
You have not.
It was not really an actual hot take.
That is the
I'm about to
hottest
say,
take.
I'm pretty sure the people of Thor 2 feel like that Thor 2 wasn't the best movie. I mean, I remember when they were doing press for Ragnarok, and Chris Hemsworth made the statement. He said, "Yeah, we're trying to figure out a way to get the stink off of Thor: Dark Worlds off of us." And Tiger Waititi's managed to do that so well. He understood that this was not a great movie.
Mm-hmm. Taika Waititi is such a goofball.
I love Taika.
His batting average is great though.
Yeah.
It is, right?
You guys seen Jojo Rabbit?
I want to.
I want to
I
watch
wanna
Jojo
see
Rabbit
it.
so bad.
It's so funny.
Love it.
I've not seen Jojo Rabbit yet, but I definitely want to see it. Can I express my favorite movie?
By all
Please.
means.
And then
Yeah,
after
yeah,
you,
go for
it's
it.
Pie Man.
Yeah.
After you, it's Pie Man.
Okay, so I've got two. So I'm going to say Spider-Man Homecoming. The reason why it's a toss between that one and it's a toss between Tank Girl.
Yeah. Yay.
So why Spider-Man Homecoming? Because first of all, if you had told me, especially with the Sony people owning the rights to Spider-Man, because I'm sorry, Spider-Man 2, I do agree, was the best Spider-Man that Sam Raimi and them did out of those Sam Raimi movies. By the time you got the third Sam Raimi movie, it just went bad. And then you had the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies, which weren't that great to me. Like, they weren't very memorable.
I don't think anybody likes it that
Especially,
much.
Very bad.
especially as much as I love Jamie Foxx as an actor, especially Jamie Foxx's Electro with the itsy bitsy spider thing, trying to chase Spider-Man around, it just didn't work. But that said, to get Far From Home, or Homecoming rather, not Far From Home, to get Homecoming, I didn't think it was going to happen. So when they finally got it and Marvel was able to do their own version of a Spider-Man movie, especially after seeing him in Civil War, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I mean, if for no other reason, and it wasn't just the performances. The performance I loved was Michael Keaton's.
That was
Because
strong.
even when Michael Keaton knows who Peter is, he figures it out. Because apparently in all the Spider-Man movies, somewhere in the contract it says the bad guys have to figure out who he is. Because most of the movies at some point everybody knows who he is.
It's illegal to do otherwise.
Yeah,
You will go
can't
to
attack
jail
Spider-Man
if your
without
villain
knowing
doesn't
his
figure out
identity.
who you are.
exactly.
So, he goes to that scene with him and he says, listen, you saved my daughter's life, so I forgave you, so I'm letting this go. But here's the reality. If you mess with me again, kid, I'm going to kill you. I don't want to be put in that situation.
That scene
That
is sweet.
scene
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
felt like every scene with a dad, but with a superhero twist to it. To have the dad of the girl you're dating taking you to the prom, basically, and then him to basically tell you, don't you mess around my daughter, because whatever you do to her, I'm going to do to you, type thing. But it's
So
worse because of the fact that he understands that who he actually is.
So I remember right after we got done watching that, and right after we left the theater, and we're all talking about that movie, Pie Man's favorite scene was that one. Like, as we're leaving, because of how much Michael Keaton just crushed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
spoiler alert, I'm also going to use Homecoming as one of my favorites, too. So.
Wow. But you just said you never seen Homecoming!
Wait, no, I meant Far From Home.
Oh, okay.
Not
Far From
Homecoming.
Home is pretty good.
I've heard some good things about it, therefore
Yeah,
it's my
They
favorite.
all have too much home
Yeah,
going on. I
they
get
do.
them mixed up.
We gotta stop focusing on home, you guys.
Yes.
Is
So-
the third one going to be near
Homecoming,
home?
Far From Home. And then the other one is
Spider-Man,
Tank
Go
Girl,
Home.
because, oh gosh. That'll be the next one. That'll be the one Sony lets Marvel do the last one. And it'll be, yep, Spider-Man goes home again.
Spider-Man Go
They
Home.
won't let him back. But,
Tank
anyway,
Girl,
so
Tank Girl, talk about Tank
Tank
Girl. Please talk about
Tank Girl is awesome because it really got a lot of the source material for the quirkiness of Tank Girl. This was back again really before you had the superhero movie super thing that was going on. And so you had Lori Petty and a young Naomi Watts playing the role of
Oh,
Tank
wow.
Girl and her buddy. And they were just going around just killing it in these roles. And then Ice-T is one of the kangaroos. and all these different things, and they all had different personalities in and of themselves, and it was very. I'd read some Tank Girl stuff growing up because my dad had a crazy comic book collection. My dad, my stepdad, and my uncle, they shared their comic books. So like one would send a garbage bag to the house, and the other one would switch them. And then if they got different comics, they'd switch again. And so you'd go through and read these different comic books, and I'm saying, "What is Tank Girl? I don't understand this. She's got boobies. Okay, let me check this out." That's kind of the reality of 13-year-old me. But anyway, so I'm just sitting there reading this, and I'm just like, okay, so she's kind of crazy. And apparently the biggest thing is the water industry that is trying to, the water industry that's trying to take over the world and control the water. And they're going up against it. And so then when I saw the movie, I was like, hold up, it's the same premise. But the bad guy wants to take the water. What the heck is
bad guys are
It's so cool.
Nestle.
Because there were moments where stuff looked like the books, and I was just sitting there going like, this is awesome. And so, yeah, I think it really stuck to the source material really well. And so to see a movie do that, especially in the 90s, when you really didn't have that command to have to go in and be like, okay, we got to be really good to the source material. I mean, I understand we had Ninja Turtles by then, but even the Ninja Turtles movies kind of strayed away from the source material by the time you got to the third one.
Yes.
Oh boy.
But so with this, with Tank Girl, it definitely felt like it was sticking the landing as far as getting the source material. Anything else, somebody's like, well, why haven't they redone Tank Girl? They don't need to. It's not a movie that anybody's demanding. I mean, the comic book is good with the fans that have it, but to be honest, it's not something where somebody's going to demand that we get a Tank Girl reboot in the next 10 years.
I would have said if Birds of Prey had done better at the box office, that Tank Girl could be a thing someone would do, because like tone wise, they've got their similarities, but
Really?
yeah, unfortunately with it apparently didn't do very well. So
Oh, really?
No.
It's kind of a
maybe
kind of
we
a,
won't
Well,
get Tank Girl.
But you got to remember too, it hasn't gone overseas yet because like the Chinese market has not gotten moving with the whole situation with the coronavirus. A lot of theaters are shut down.
yeah.
And so there's a lot of areas of the world where you got to remember, we live in a world now where movies don't do well until they go overseas.
Oh yeah, got to get that international money.
Yeah.
You got to get that international money. That's where the money comes in. And somebody like Harley Quinn, can you imagine once that does get over to China, you're going to see all these waifu girls sitting there dressing up in cosplay as Harley Quinn just to go show up for this movie.
More so than we already
Like,
are.
it's going to go
Oh
nuts.
boy.
I guess from like a Western audience standpoint, I guess it's kind of a poisoned well in that case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to go to Hot Topic and buy something from the Harleen collection?
Get some
particularly.
Harleen shirts with a bunch of stolen art on them.
Oh boy. Hey, speaking of Harleen, isn't there a new comic coming out that dropped recently called
yes.
Harleen?
It's already out. I have the first 3 issues. They just traded it in a hardcover.
I
beautiful.
just picked up the hardcover collection because I liked it
It
that
is.
much.
Oh
Really?
my gosh, it's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's sweet.
Steven Stefanik's art. It does get pretty graphic. It definitely ain't for kids. If you
Well,
watch
it's the
Harley
black
Quinn,
label version, so it's like their more
Right,
mature
yeah.
DC stuff.
Yeah.
yeah.
I wouldn't say it's expensive
funny.
though.
It's funny. I was listening to somebody review it, and the thing was, they were just like, when it comes to the F word, they don't mind saying the F word when it comes to somebody telling somebody to F off or something, but they have a problem using the term F when it comes to the actual act of effing.
Yeah, they
And
don't
the
like
book-
to use it in a sexual manner.
Okay.
They censor that version, but they don't censor the other version. It's just like, so
That's funny.
then, okay.
Well, it's
I
because,
get
aggression and violence is fine. Sex, we can't have
We
that.
can't. No, that doesn't
No.
exist.
You
That
can't
doesn't
make
exist.
lives, you can only take them.
That's right. That's the Joker's philosophy.
No, that's the philosophy of the dude who taped the babies to himself.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh
Baby
man,
armor.
not that guy.
Oh, dear.
You can't touch me.
You can't tase me. You can't pepper spray me. You can't do anything.
You can't even shove me.
Wow.
Because I have a suit made of baby. Living baby.
I'm so glad you love the Tank Girl movie, because I have a love-hate relationship with that movie, because I love the tone, I love the visuals, I think the casting was really good. but I've always the movie's always rubbed me the wrong way because it's so dated. Like there's so many '90s references in it that like it feels hard to watch nowadays because it's like I can't wait to go to New York and see Cats. Although I guess you could say that's a little more topical nowadays. At least than it used to be.
Yeah. Well, you can just wait and go see it on Blu-ray when it comes out now. Instead,
I don't think I will.
I don't think
I don't think most people are going to do that. But
as an active purveyor of trash, I'm not sure if I want to watch Cats or not. Because the reviews all seem like you leave the theater with less than what you came in, like internally.
I do like the idea of a well-to-do connoisseur of trash. This is some fine trash today.
What is the vintage on this garbage?
That would be 1992.
Pull out some black bags and just squeeze them into the glass.
No, I've seen like a couple of scenes from the Cats movie, and like it physically repulsed me.
I think all I've seen is the screenshot of Idris Elba sticking his ass in the air.
Oh man!
I didn't mind that so much, but Rebel Wilson unzipping her skin to reveal a second skin that is clothed after eating an anthropomorphic cockroach. It touches something inside me that makes me feel gross.
I feel like if I watch Cats, I feel like I'm gonna leave the theater with something important missing.
Yeah, right.
And I should be clear, I love Rebel Wilson.
I also love Rebel
she's
Wilson.
Great. And I'm sad. Speaking of Rebel Wilson, her very first role, I'm sad no one's brought up Ghost Rider yet.
Yeah, I was about to. Sorry, I thought of Ghost Rider earlier.
Oh yeah, Ghost Rider.
I'm the one that walks in both worlds. I'm the Ghost Rider.
Well, here.
gosh.
That's gonna come up in the next section.
Yeah, sorry. The next segment. Go ahead, brother. Kick it off. Pie Man.
Oh, me?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Let me guess. Homecoming Tank Girl.
No, Tank Girl is not amongst my favorites, unfortunately. Okay, so yes, I'll say Homecoming first of all, and I'll explain why. So going into Homecoming, I had extremely low expectations.
Yeah.
I was not expecting a whole lot, and I was really confused. I didn't know what was going to happen because the Vulture, I didn't know how they were going to adapt that for screen.
Yeah.
Because like a stupid old man in an age-defying suit that's shaped like a vulture,
Yeah.
that's not going to work in a movie.
No.
It isn't going to work. And so when they get to the reveal where it's, oh no, we're going to go with the scavenger aspect of the vulture.
Yeah.
I thought, that's genius.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
And the scene where he's perched on the billboard, with
Yeah.
his wings folded down.
Yeah.
I thought that was so sick. I loved it. And then of course we mentioned the scene in the car before the dance.
Yeah.
It was also amazing.
I bet you're real happy your buddy Spider-Man showed up.
And I loved Tom Holland because I think so. I can't remember who said it, but someone else came up with this, so I'm just quoting them. I'm not trying to take credit for it. But someone I read on the internet said that in the Sam Raimi films, Tobey Maguire makes a great Peter Parker, not the greatest Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then Garfield makes a great Spider-Man,
Yeah.
not the best,
But not a great Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And then Tom Holland hits the perfect middle ground.
Yeah.
And is both an excellent Peter Parker
That's
and
right.
a great Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I loved how the kids were kids.
Yeah.
The kids do look like kids.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. 30-year-olds playing high schoolers.
Right.
Yeah.
It was kids, actual teenagers, and it was a good movie.
Yeah.
And I had a great time with it, and I was so happy it turned out the way it did.
Tom Holland is a fantastic Spider-Man.
He's such a cute boy.
I actually
He's
so
so
check it out.
He's such a cute boy.
So check it out. Before he ever got cast as Spider-Man in Civil War, I actually happened upon him in another movie before that. I can't even remember the name of it, and it really frustrates me. But he did this amazing dramatic role, where he played the son of. He played one of two sons of this scavenger father out in the Arctic wilderness, and they're just trying to survive. And it's just their drama as a family, and he was fantastic. I saw that movie, and then a couple years after that, Spider-Man dropped out. I was like, no way!
I know that kid.
That's the one. That's the kid.
Yeah,
So-
Vulture was fantastic.
Oh, he's so good.
Yeah.
But moving on from Homecoming, because we've done that to death.
Sure.
My other favorite comic book movie, and like it feels cliche to say it almost, but The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight is very good.
I'm surprised none of us have talked about that.
I am
Makes sense.
also surprised we didn't talk about The Dark Knight.
I mean, everybody, of course, praises everything about The Dark Knight, but it's because it's worthy of that praise.
Yes.
very good.
Yeah.
It's such a good movie.
Well, I think it's I recommended my mother to see it. I was like,
Oh.
Mom, you should watch this movie. It's pretty good. You'd like it because she likes thrillers.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's actually a really good thriller. It's not
Yeah.
just a dumb like comic book Batman dumb stuff.
It's hard when you have to tell the person you're recommending stuff to be all like, don't think of it like a comic book movie.
No, yeah, I absolutely had to.
That's
I was like-
hard.
I was
That's a golden-
Think of it as a detective thriller
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
thing.
That's a golden seal of approval if you can unironically recommend a parent watching it.
Exactly. I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, our
We-
mom is a huge dork, so
Yeah.
My mother's not a huge dork, so
Yeah.
that's how it.
It's okay. Our mother loves Ninja Turtles, Star Wars, and Batman, Superman. She does this thing, and she only does it just
we
to...
took our mom to go watch Wonder Woman when that came out.
Yeah, we
She
did.
was a big fan of the TV
She
show.
loves Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman's
The
so
Linda Carter.
good.
The Linda Carter Wonder Woman she loved.
I think as much as we will shill the MCU for now and forever, I think it is at least worth mentioning that like the DCEU movies seem to be on something of an upwards trajectory, even if it's still well below in terms of quality.
They're trying real hard.
It is
They're
too,
trying.
It is too early to tell. Perhaps if we scatter the bones out to the ground and feel the four winds, maybe we'll be able to tell.
cast
But you
some
are
rings.
right. I do sense an upward trajectory, and they're finding their footing finally.
Even if that trajectory is still like well below where it should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if they want to compete, I guess.
Yeah. Definitely. But
I guess I got my movies out of the way, so now we can switch gears to what
Okay.
What you're
Yeah.
I
gonna
think
say.
Jingles is chomping at the bit here.
I'm fine.
yeah,
We
yeah.
got some
but
bits,
it
bits
is-
to chomp.
We're about an hour and 30 minutes into the podcast, so this
Okay.
is usually when we take a quick break. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go ahead and do that before we move on. But before we take our break, because Will had said, and I had completely forgotten, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze is also one of my favorite comic book movies of all time as well.
I love it.
Yeah, I
Go
kinda wonder why
Ninja,
you
go
guys hadn't
Ninja,
brought that
go.
up.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Go.
They were all like, "Yo, what's up with this act in the middle of the stage that they were fighting?" And then Vanilla was all like, "I don't know, but I'm feeling it."
Hey, I'm just gonna freestyle a song here, you guys. I'm just gonna freestyle it. Yo, it's a green machine, gonna rock the town without being seen. Have you ever seen a turtle get down?
I just came up with these lyrics on the top of my head, just rapid fire.
Just rapid fire. I didn't practice this at all.
Go see my movie, Smooth as Ice.
Yes, Smooth as Ice, by my workout album.
Yes.
Wow.
It's better than Marky Marks, I promise.
Yes, but
Yeah.
yes. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze and Spider-Man: Enter the Spider-Verse is also a fantastic film.
Oh,
Yes.
animated movies count too? Oh
Technically,
Well, it's a comic book movie.
it is a movie.
no. I guess that's true. Oh no.
So yeah. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break here now, and then we'll come back and we'll go into the next section
Excellent.
of our conversation. So we'll be right back right after these messages. Alrighty, welcome back everybody. It's the Mythos Boys once again with special guest Will Holland.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us, Will. This has been insightful, to say the very least.
I think we've all learned something today.
What did we learn today? What life lessons did we gain from superheroes? Sorry, you go first. I was just being tangential. You go
Okay.
ahead.
I just wanted, for this next thing I wanted to talk about, and this is kind of a free-flowing question,
Okay.
is how, because Iron Man and the MCU have kind of really elevated what people expect out of the quality of their superhero films, we don't let mediocrity slide as much anymore when it comes to superhero movies.
I would say not.
We kind of demand higher of our superhero movies than we did, say, in the mid 2000s and even before then, because we were shown people are capable of making really good movies out of these, but sometimes you have to change a few things. You can't be 100% authentic all the time. You can get pretty close.
No, I think a lot of the problems with a lot of the earlier comic book films were that they tried to adhere to comic storylines too closely, and the comics just don't translate to film 1-to-1. It's not going to work.
Right. And I was watching Andre, the Black Nerd of Black Nerd Comedy.
I love his stuff.
He's great. He was talking about the Venom movie, and
Venom.
so as many of
Beat me to
the
it.
people, as many of the people here Venom know, Venom is
There you go.
Venom is my favorite comic book character of all time, and he
Yeah.
has been for a very long time.
Is it because of his brilliant winning smile?
That's part of it.
Yeah.
And like I've often felt that a lot of media kind of doesn't do Venom right as far as how I feel like Venom should be.
Yeah.
The way Venom is in the comics has shifted because of other media.
Yeah.
And
True.
Venom is different from how he started, which is too bad because the way he started was my favorite.
Yeah.
Which is why I loved him so much.
Oh, really quick?
Yes.
Will, I got,
Yes.
I think for Jingles' last birthday, I actually got him a collection of Lethal Protector Venom.
Oh, good job. Good
Yep.
job there, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Venom's first standalone miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
I've read it all. It's great.
Isn't he kind of goofy?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
He's
Yes, he
supposed to
never
be.
has goofy moments in that storyline.
No,
So,
almost
yeah.
exclusively goofy moments. Like literally the first opening pages is that Venom sees this lady getting robbed and he goes and saves her, and he has like this long speech of like, you're a disease in this in their society, and diseases need to be cut out, and he kills the purse thief.
Yeah.
And he's like has this like long speech, and then he turns around, sees the lady, and he puts on this big dopey grin, and he's like, "Oh, hi, we're Venom. Sorry to startle you." It's the best, and I'm just like, "That's Venom.
There he is.
That is Venom."
Yeah.
Like he takes himself incredibly seriously, but he's also a huge dope.
Also, shout out to
Right,
the
right.
to the version of Venom you showed me from the Spider-Man PS1 game, where he's basically just a man-child.
He essentially is. His whole plan.
surf the web.
Surf the web, surf the web.
Hey, Parker.
Ooh, are we gonna surf the web?
Oh, dang. You're in the doghouse now, dude.
Oh, you're in the doghouse now, too.
It sounds really different from the version of Venom I knew, where he was sad and wanted to kill himself, but he couldn't because he's Catholic.
Yes.
What about that
was
version?
later on.
What about that version of Venom that doesn't say anything but just screeches?
Yeah.
You mean Agony?
No, the
No.
one with the one. I don't know. I was about to say
Topher Grace.
with the one with Topher Grace inside.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
yeah, that one.
He's just a
No,
whiny.
no. See, I'm sorry. He wasn't screeching in agony. We were screeching in agony watching that.
That's
piece of
what
crap.
it was.
No, those
that's
are
what it
those
was.
are the people in the
We
theater.
heard
That's
ourselves
right.
screeching in agony was what was happening because they took the '70s guy and made him what was supposed to be one of the baddest villains that Spider-Man ever dealt with in a movie that already had two other villains in it.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry, Venom.
There's a lot
Great
of problems.
character.
So great.
Your favorite?
No, Venom. I don't know if he is a great character, but he's my favorite character.
Sure.
Big difference.
Yeah. You like those dopey, nice guys.
I like those big,
Yeah.
dumb, like silly but cool guys.
Yes.
I feel like
Yeah,
my favorite characters in all of media are like really cool but also really dumb, like simultaneously.
Yeah.
My first love of Venom was the comics where he first was coming into his own. And like there's a point where Eddie Brock wears like a black jacket that's the full bodysuit of Venom, but he shows up at Peter's house. And like Aunt May and everybody is there. He kind of knocks on the door. He's like, "Hey, Petey, won't you come on out and play with us?" And Peter's like, "Wait, why is he saying us? What is going on?" Oh. And then he realizes his spider senses didn't go off. And he's just like, oh. It's like, why are my spider senses not going off? He's like, well, we're not going to kill you in front of your family. That would just be too infamous. Meet us here. Because if you don't meet us here, then yes, we will come back and we will kill your family in front of you.
Yep.
So you can either meet us here. I'm just like, oh, like, because I didn't realize at the time yet that the whole Venom thing, because he warned Venom, you know, back in that space thing when they were going to Secret Wars, and he ended up getting that black suit as a replacement for his torn up suit. That when he wore it or whatever, that basically because his body had gotten so used to the suit that he doesn't feel threatened by it, even when somebody else is wearing it who's Venom.
Yes.
And so hence that's why his spider signal never went off whenever he was around.
Oh yeah, I don't know if we ever told you, but Spider-Man cannot spider sense Venom.
Yeah, his spider sense is not sent off by Venom.
Yeah.
It's one of the few things. And also all of Venom's babies,
Yes.
which includes Carnage and
Yeah.
all the other
Toxin.
fun ones.
Antitoxin.
Phage,
Phage.
Scream.
Agony.
Yeah.
Oh man, the
Riots.
symbiotes.
I just don't...
Dude, Riot in a movie.
Yeah, Hush.
But the Venom movie.
Yes,
Yes.
so the Venom movie is
Venom,
what I was
yeah.
talking about. And Andre...
Venom, ain't no Venom.
Venom, he's gonna get him!
Eminem, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you,
Those are great
Eminem.
themes off of that movie.
He's legitimately a fan of Venom, which I think is hilarious.
That's pretty good.
Andre was saying that, and it's the way that I feel about the film. It's not a very good film. Just in general, a lot of the characters are really kind of bland.
Yeah.
The bad guy is really bland.
Yeah.
Riot's okay.
Yeah.
The best part of that film is Venom and Eddie Brock and their dynamic.
Yeah.
And that's something, like, the entire time I was like, I have no problems with this. Because Venom was dopey in that.
Yeah.
As well as he was also really cool because he also ate people's heads.
Yeah.
But, like, and the action was okay, too. But, like, pacing was weird.
Yeah.
Story beats bad.
Yeah.
The way that the symbiotes by themselves, like, kind of slithered and slopped around, if there's a word for that.
No. No, but please
Yeah,
continue.
It's slop.
It was
Slop.
slopped around. Because that's, they
It's very sloppy.
whatever.
That's the sound I imagined.
Just that, how they do that around, it looks great.
Yeah.
Looks amazing.
Yeah.
It looks good right up until Venom and Riot are fighting each other in a goo fight, and then I end up just getting like an actual physical headache watching it.
Right. No, but like when they're being worn by people,
Yeah.
they look okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Was I the only one that was banking on Scream making an appearance when they like,
You're not the only one. I was hoping for at least visual confirmation of as many of the other symbiotes as possible.
Right.
We were all on the lookout for visual evidence of phage.
Yes. But,
oh my god, shut up.
oh, I'm gonna kill you later.
Or at least
dear.
Riot showing up with like buzzsaw arms.
Exactly. Or Trap Room.
Oh man.
So,
Don't talk about Trey.
so Andre had said that if Venom had come out right after Spider-Man 3 came out, we would all think of it as, better.
A terrific comic book movie. Yeah.
And the reason that it came out at now, when we expect a lot more from our comic book movies, we can see the problems more clearly.
Yeah.
And when he said that, I thought to myself, if Venom came out directly after Spider-Man 3, I would have thought it was the best movie ever made.
Yeah, probably.
I would
can
have
see
thought,
that.
I would have thought it would have been incredible.
Yeah.
Because it would have given me what I wanted out of Venom.
Yeah.
Which it still did.
Yeah.
But it's still not a good movie.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to talk about, like, the fact that we demand more from our comic book movies. We don't accept mediocrity anymore for our comic book movies. And I just wanted to see what you guys thought about that. I was actually thinking, imagine right after the Dark Knight trilogy, if the Tim Burton Batman had come out.
Huh.
Would we think of it as highly as we do?
Well, I mean, even
That's a good
accounting,
question.
accounting for like the visuals, because obviously the visuals of the Tim Burton movie just wouldn't fly now.
Right.
Yeah.
But accounting for that, still no.
Yeah.
I'm about
Yeah,
to say,
actually.
let's phrase this a slightly different way.
Okay.
If you played, let's say, Force Unleashed, and then 5 minutes later, you get done beating Force Unleashed, you've beaten Force Unleashed 2, and then somebody says, here's this awesome new Star Wars game called Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast. And you said, play that after this game. Now, it would be kind of the same deal. The storyline may be really awesome. There's a lot of stuff that would let you down.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to those other two games.
Here we are. Let's go back to talking about Star Wars for a minute. We tried not to, but we're coming back to talking about Star Wars.
I'm just saying, compare the two.
Right.
Based solely on the order, and you go and play Force Unleashed 1 and 2. Look, I loved all the Star Wars games, even the crazy jankiness of Jedi Outcast, because I felt like I was playing a shooter, but it wasn't a shooter all the time because I had a lightsaber.
Yeah.
It's a shooter until you get your lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a third-person action game.
That's one of those rare games that I think is better with, like, cheat codes.
Yeah.
You
do
know, I
whatever
kind of
you
feel that way. I will say that I feel like the pacing and the story of Jedi Outcast is better than Force Unleashed.
I was gonna say,
Force
like,
Unleashed.
I think a more accurate one would be, like, imagine if you just got done playing Jedi Fallen Order, and then you went back and played Force Unleashed 2.
No, you get done playing Fallen Order, and then you play the PlayStation Phantom Menace game.
Aww.
Oh,
It's
gosh.
not that far in a dip in quality.
Okay. That's too far?
That's
All right.
I feel like Force Unleashed 2 strikes that great balance of, like, it's passable, but it's still, like, bad.
Fair enough.
All right, well, drawing back from Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coming back to comic book films.
we
again,
can't do it.
It's impossible.
We're trying.
It's
We're
impossible.
trying.
We're trying our hardest.
I think it's because superhero films are they're very saturated right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Superhero films are essentially what westerns were.
Yeah.
Back in the
Everywhere.
day.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Everybody and their brothers making westerns. There's
Yeah.
tons of good westerns. There's a lot of real bad westerns.
Yep.
We've been able to separate the wheat from the chaff. We've
Yes.
distilled everything down. We know what we want. We know what we like. We know what works.
Yep.
So now we're not going to tolerate, simply from consumption and critical standpoint, we're not going to tolerate stuff that isn't up to snuff anymore.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
We've learned what doesn't work,
Yeah.
and we've
Yeah.
refined it to find out what does work. Let's not forget that in the early and mid 2000s, after the success of Spider-Man, like, oh, hey, let's get a whole bunch more comic book movies out as well.
Yeah.
There was also an oversaturation then as well.
Yeah.
But they weren't very good.
No, they weren't.
They're still
And it
not
killed-
good.
And it killed it off.
Yeah.
And then the MCU came out.
Yeah, and I think being able to figure out, like, what works and what doesn't is really good because it leads to just overall better movies. Like, I can enjoy a bad movie every once in a while, but I don't ever want things to be bad.
But do you want to watch Elektra with me? Let's go watch Elektra.
You want to watch
I'm
Elektra?
about to say, do you want to watch Elektra, where Bob Sapp literally throws a tree at her at one point?
Yes.
Uh,
I have been on the lookout for a copy of the old Daredevil movie to watch with
we
everyone.
Okay, so Will, I don't know if we ever sat down and talked to you about this, but us boys over here of the Mythos cast occasionally like to get together and have what we like to lovingly refer to as a bad movie night.
Yeah.
And we've been trying to
Track
locate
down.
and track down just lower quality films.
Yeah.
And right now,
What happened for last bad movie night?
Last bad movie night was Batman and Robin.
That's right.
We watched Warzone before then, Punisher Warzone.
We also watched. I made you guys watch a few episodes of CSI Miami.
You've made us watch more than a few episodes of CSI Miami.
I'm gonna make you watch all of it eventually.
We're gonna get through all of them.
We're probably going to get through all of it.
And
There's a
so
lot of CSI Miami.
and so we make an event out of it. We have ourselves a good time. We have some drinks. We have some snacks. It's so much fun.
I like to think of it as a bonding experience.
It is a bonding experience. That's how we all watched The Room together.
Yeah,
I don't know how we did
that's how
it.
well, that's how we started it.
That's how kind of we started it out.
I'm so glad you guys loved it.
Bleeding pie man with guys, does Tommy seem like the kind of guy to own a gun?
Oh, wow.
Your timing was perfect.
But so, with that in mind, we are currently trying to locate a copy of Daredevil.
Yeah.
On Blu-ray and or DVD.
Yeah.
And
We also need
we're
to
gonna
show
watch that.
Roscoe's sister it.
Yes, we do.
Because she knows her Evanescence.
Oh yeah,
Evanescence.
Oh,
scored
gosh.
that movie.
2 songs, boys.
2 songs.
2 Evanescence songs.
Bring
Which is-
me back to life.
I have
much
seen
humanity.
clips of that playing, and it sounds like a YouTube AMV, but it's just the movie.
No, it's not an AMV. That actually happened.
That
It's
is-
like an AMV. Anyway,
Oh boy.
Yeah.
so
But
I,
no,
know,
that's,
I loved Michael Clark Duncan though.
I'm
Yeah.
always
Michael
gonna love
Clark Duncan
Clark
as Kingpin was the best part of that movie.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
I'm not the bad guy.
wake me up.
Wake me up inside.
Can't wake up.
Wake me up inside.
Save
Shit, wake
me.
up.
You guys remember
That's
when? You guys remember when they were all like, "What do you want, Daredevil?" And he's all like, "Justice."
And they threw that guy in front
Oh,
of a train.
gosh.
And he's
Yes,
like,
for
I'm not
you,
the bad guy.
Here's a fun Evanescence fact. So Evanescence for a very short time was carried in Christian bookstores.
Yes,
because
she
they
was.
had done
Yeah.
I do remember
They
this.
had done a
Tourniquet,
song
the song,
with-
right?
Tourniquet. Yeah, they
Yeah.
done a song called Tourniquet with a group that was a Christian-based group. So then when they came out with their own CD, a bunch of the Christian bookstores were like, and the publisher for the album was part of a Christian label. So they carried the album for like a week. Well, then, like, they came out of Entertainment Weekly. The only reason I remember this is because the Matrix 2 was coming out, so I picked up a copy
Yep.
because it had Morbius. Had Lawrence Fishburne, Morpheus on there, and so I picked up the Lawrence Fishburne cover because Lawrence Fishburne. But anyway, so I don't need any other reason. Anyway, so picked that up, and I read this Evanescence thing. So, of course, they're in the interview, they're talking about the album, and somebody said, well, you know, it's interesting that your album is being picked up by contemporary Christian bookstores. You know, how do you feel about that? And the lead singer's response was basically, we're not an effing Christian band. We don't understand why the F they are carrying us.
Yeah.
The next week, apparently all the Christian bookstores found out about this. And so they
Because of
moved
course
them
they are.
immediately. They
Yep.
dropped
For
their
very
sales,
obvious
like,
reasons.
Yep.
like a lot of the sales at that point kind of tanked. And then she came
Yeah.
back out a week later and was like, well, we didn't mean that the stuff in our album couldn't be sold to Christians. We just are the Christians. Yeah. You know, and then she was just like, you know what? I kind of messed that up on my end. That's on me. We'll just take that bullet and go on. And
I
so,
dropped the
they
ball
never
there,
carried
guys.
an Evanescence CD in there because of that after the fact.
And they're like, "Hey, do you want to do Daredevil with us?"
Right.
We'll pair you with Casting
you know what?
Crowns.
Oh man.
Yeah, Casting Crowns.
If I can find a copy, I've got you guys' address. If I find a copy, I'll let you know and I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Daredevil.
So the only condition is that somehow or another we figure out a way to where you get me involved in that video. I don't know if it'd be a streaming thing or how that would work.
Live stream Daredevil. Live stream Daredevil.
We can't can't do that.
You can't see it, Will, but Josh is like bouncing in his seat.
No,
He's so excited.
It'll be easy. All we have to do is just post it on the Valve Artifact stream, and no one will find it.
Right.
I don't know how that would work. I mean, it would almost be like, I don't know what that, doing a podcast like that, I don't know how that would work or if we could do that.
Man.
I'll bite the bullet and I'll be the one playing Artifact or trying to play Artifact.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're still doing this, but over on Twitch, where the section where people stream games of Valve's Artifact, people use that as just like a cover for playing pirated movies.
Wow.
Like they were playing Avengers Endgame like on repeat, and nobody was catching it because nobody watches those servers.
Wow.
And like the actual games that they play get like a grand total of like 2 or 3 viewers.
Yep.
Wow. That's insane.
That's how I watched the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie for the first time. It was on a Twitch stream.
Really?
Yeah, and then I
didn't know
picked it up myself.
Wow, I didn't know you were such a vicious pirate, Will.
Well, I didn't know I was either. Look, I was looking around with the Twitch, and they were just like, "Hey, Dragon Ball Super Broly movie." And I was like, I hadn't seen it to buy it yet, so let me watch this thing and see if I want to buy it. And I watched it, very choppy version of it, and then I was just like, okay, so I want to buy it for real now, so I can actually watch it for real because this is kind of horrible version of seeing it because I didn't. It cut it out a lot.
I was gonna say, so are you
Pretty
saying
much like
that you
that.
want people to like give money to Dragon Ball Evolution?
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, no. See, that would be like one of the torture levels of hell. I would prefer not to go through that if I could help it.
Yeah.
I've already seen that movie.
Hell,
It's not a
you
good
mean
thing. Look.
HFIL, right?
Yeah, Home for Eternal Losers.
Definitely mean that.
That's
Well,
what I
no,
meant.
because like we all have guilty pleasures of movies we like to watch. Like I occasionally love to go back and watch Kicking It Old School for like the 50th time for some reason. But Batman Evolution. Dragon Ball Evolution is not one of those movies that I would ever want to watch again. Knowingly.
Dragon Ball Evolution actually upsets me.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a fun, bad movie. It's just
a bad
a
movie.
movie that makes me upset.
The first time I watched it, I had to stop.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it in one sitting because I couldn't. It was like
You had to take a cringe break.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Actually, The Legend of Chun-Li is similar in that I was just like, this is awful.
Yeah.
And I had to like pause
Yeah.
and for break for a little bit.
Go outside
And
and burn
again,
one.
kind of like Daredevil, the only redeeming value of that movie was that Michael Clark Duncan was in that movie as Balrog. That was it.
Yep.
Michael
They
Clark
cast a
Duncan
guy
saves
who
the
was
day
in
again.
it. That was exactly. There was the guy who played Bison was like Tom McDermott, I think, or Tim McDermott or whatever. And he was just like, so I'm in a business suit, guys.
Yeah, he was just a
I'm totally
dude.
gonna sit here and be a guy in a business suit with psycho powers. And I'm not gonna use any of the specials or anything like that. I'm just in a suit, guys.
He didn't even have no powers.
No, he did.
Did he?
Yeah,
He had powers. He had powers. They just weren't very good powers, but he had them.
They were,
Neil
it was more
McDonough.
CGI hand farts.
Yeah.
That's right.
Since we're talking about
His hands glowed a couple of times. That was about it.
yeah, they glow a little bit and they amaze you.
Oh man.
Since we're talking about
Which,
the like Street Fighter
you know,
movies, I need to.
If I want to see the, I want to see the glow, I'd watch The Last Dragon instead.
That's all right. But since we're talking about Street Fighter the movie, I feel the need to make a small correction from our last episode of the podcast.
Oh no, what did we do wrong?
It was when I was talking about mistaking like Raul Julia for someone else. It was not Gary Busey. It was I accidentally said that M. Bison was played by Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Oh no.
Yeah, like by accident at floor jingles for like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
He just
remember now.
done for a little
He
bit.
couldn't handle it.
I remember now. Okay.
Yes.
I don't want to live in a world where Steve Buscemi is playing M. Bison because that would just be creepy.
I just couldn't remember his name, and I was like, yeah, M. Bison played by Steve Buscemi.
He could play like a fetal M. Bison.
I wonder if we'll ever see Steve Buscemi ever in the MCU at any point. I doubt it, but who knows? We've been getting good MCU films. So
Yes,
I know. I can
because
see it happening.
because of that higher level of quality that we demand now.
that's right. So Neil McDonough was M. Bison in The Legend of Chun-Li.
And in the Legend of Chun-Li,
Yeah,
yes.
Michael Clark Duncan was Balrog, and Taboo was Vega.
Taboo.
Yeah,
Taboo
Taboo.
from the Black Eyed Peas.
Oh, from Black Eyed Peas.
And
All I can say, yeah.
Robin Shou played Gen.
That's right.
And Robin
Yes.
Shou, people might remember,
Was
from
in
the
Mortal
Mortal
Kombat.
Kombat movie.
Yep.
Yep.
So he bridged that gap.
Yeah.
And he was also in Beverly Hills Ninjas.
Yeah, it was.
Beverly Hills Ninja
No
with Chris
way.
Farley.
Oh,
Whipping
man.
Gun Chris Farley.
Good. Beverly Hills Ninja is a comic book movie, right?
Yeah,
I like to believe so.
probably.
But another person that I like thinking about people that like bridge the gap over like the competing like companies, and I like how oh no, I dropped his name.
Who was the guy that was in Aquaman who was also in the Ant-Man movies? He's in Fresh Off the Block. He's the dad for Fresh Off the Block. What's his name?
Oh, not Paul Rudd.
Not Paul Rudd.
Because he's been on both universes. Because he, like I said, he shows up at the end of Aquaman. He's the guy trying to say that there are people in Atlantis, and he's trying to prove that the Atlanteans are a reality, and nobody wants to listen to him until the very end, where Black Manta shows up.
Who did he,
Black Manta.
who did he play in Ant-Man? Do you remember?
I don't know.
Which fella are we thinking about?
The guy who was he was a scientist in the end of Aquaman, but he was also in the Ant-Man movies.
Oh, I know the actor you're talking about. It's like Benedict Wong, I think. No, not Benedict Wong.
That's
Benedict
that other
Wong
guy.
played Wong.
Yeah, he played Wong. Which I think is funny.
But I know the actor you're talking about. He was on this show called Fresh Off the Boat.
Fresh off the boat. He's the dad on there.
Yeah. I know the guy.
So
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds was who I was thinking about. I don't know why I dropped his name like that, and I feel bad, and I hope to be reprimanded for it later.
Severely.
But Ryan Reynolds, how he bridged the gap, DC, Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a bunch of other people that have bridged, like Star Trek, Star Wars. There's crossover,
Mm-hmm.
like Sulu.
Oh, George Takei?
Takei is obviously Sulu, but also was in Clone Wars and a few episodes.
You want to know another comic book movie Ryan Reynolds has been in?
Oh yes,
Blade.
yep, Blade.
Oh, he was in Blade.
Blade.
Blade Trinity.
Yeah.
Blade
Blade
Trinity.
Trinity.
The one that Wesley Snipes hated.
Yeah,
The
he
one
did.
that the one
where he
where
wouldn't
Wesley
open his eyes.
the one
Yeah.
where Wesley Snipes went nuts.
He did go nuts.
Yeah, they had to CGI his eyes opening because he refused to open them.
The one where he insisted everyone referred to him as Blade,
As just
and he
Blade.
only communicated
Yeah.
with the director via note.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Boy, that movie's trash.
That's not insane at all. And this is coming from the same guy who was in Tu Wong Fu. So it's kind of interesting. He was in Tu Wong Fu and everything was cool. He was dressed as a woman, but then when he's Blade, he just goes nuts and decides that you're gonna call me Blade now.
Yeah,
Dude. We got a new Blade movie coming out.
yeah, we do.
With Mahershala Ali.
I think it's gonna be
I'm
pretty
looking
great.
forward to that. I'm hoping Blade and Moon Knight
Hang out.
have team ups.
I'm really interested to check out Moon Knight.
I'm really pumped for She-Hulk,
I
actually.
hope we get visual
I am
confirmation
too.
of Dracula in the MCU.
Yeah. Just straight up
Wow.
Dracula.
By the way, that actor's name is Randall Park.
Thank you.
Thank
Randall Park.
you.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, Randall Park. He's a pretty funny guy.
Yeah, he is.
Who
He's
did
real
Randall
funny.
Park play in Ant-Man?
I can't even remember the name of the character, but he was like
that
this
shield
agent, either a shield agent or a government agent
Okay.
that was
He's the
tasked
government
to
agent that-
keeping track of
That's to
Ant-Man.
keep track of Ant-Man,
Yeah,
basically.
he was that silly guy that was just
Oh.
always came over and was all like, "Make sure your house arrest bracelet is on."
Yeah.
Yeah, he's funny. I like
Yeah.
him.
So,
The Blade movies are good.
yes, well,
Well, Blade is good.
Sorry, Blade is good.
the first Blade film is cool.
I wish I liked the second Blade movie.
I liked Blade 2 for the visuals and the makeup.
That was directed by Guillermo del Toro.
Yes,
That's
it was.
why I wish I liked it.
Yeah, the makeup and the prosthetics and some of the effects were really cool. Like when
I
Blade
love-
kills a guy with a vertical suplex.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the fact that Donnie Yen was in Blade 2. And
Was
he
he?
gets to do his crazy shadow kick when he's fighting one of the vampires.
That's awesome.
And of course, the awesome, even more imposing Ron Perlman,
Oh
who is
yeah,
a friend of Guillermo del Toro, was in there as well. He,
Very
of course,
dear
kind of becomes the bad guy
Yep.
Yeah. You
in a lot
got
of ways. Like he
remember-
turns on Blade.
remember after watching Blade 1 and Blade used that antitoxin to explode the bad guy, and then in Blade 2 he pops the antitoxin on the new bad guy and it looks like he's going to explode, but then he just pushes it back in. And we're all like, "What is that? What is that?"
Yeah, I liked the Reaper vampires. They were fun.
They were awesome. I thought they were really, really cool.
Yeah.
Especially their head honcho guy. I actually really liked that guy as a villain because at that point I was used to posh vampire villains, but he seemed so much more uncouth and relatable because
Well, and they were-
his position was that like he was just betrayed by everybody.
Yeah,
Can you fit
and
those
he was a
vampires
mutant.
into your Vampire
and
the
so-
Masquerade game?
Huh? Maybe.
Yeah, he was a mutant that ended up, basically having the sister that was working with Blade and them trying to stop him.
Yeah.
Because he was.
So that was kinda
his
interesting as well.
vampire curse was super powerful and it was overtaking all the others and going to consume the world.
How many times has Blade had to kill his own mom?
Too many times.
Too many times.
A
How many
lot.
times? Yeah. How many
More than
times do we
once?
have to watch Uncle Ben die?
Luckily,
Dude,
not as
look,
often
if you-
anymore.
I'm about to say, dude, if you say that, that's fine, but we're getting another Batman movie. If his parents die in front of me one more time, I'm going to somehow instant transmission onto the set and just kill Robert Pattinson and get it over with.
You know, I'm going to go ahead and just because I've been meaning to, Will, I'm going to go ahead and just defend Robert Pattinson.
Oh, okay.
You can
Because,
defend him, that's fine. I just don't want to see Thomas and Martha Wayne die again.
I know, but you've been throwing a lot of shade on Robert Pattinson.
Yeah,
You've
brother.
been throwing a lot of shade on Robert Pattinson, man.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. Are you sure it was me? Because I was the guy. No, I was the guy that said he's done other acting outside of Twilight, and he can pull a very much a Michael Keaton-esque performance
That's
out of
true.
it. I think, and I hope he surprises a bunch of people because
That's
I think
true.
people are looking at him with Twilight, and they're going, "Hey, he did Twilight. He can't do anything else other than Twilight, but he's done so many other movies besides Twilight." So it's
Yeah.
like, give him a chance to either make it or fail miserably. But either way, give him the
yeah.
chance to make that call.
I saw
Yes.
Cosmopolis, so I know that he can pull off a Bruce Wayne. I'm just waiting to see the Batman.
I'm not familiar enough with Robert Pattinson to really know either way. I mean, I'm sure he's a fine actor.
I've seen him in a few other things.
He died real good
Well,
in
man,
Harry
like-
Potter.
People, it's like people flipped out about when Affleck played Batman, and I'm like, dude, I kind of like that version of Batman. It worked for me.
Or,
But again,
or like,
everybody was kind of hating on him because of Daredevil. It was just like, okay, Daredevil was how long ago?
or like you're really gonna get Green Lantern to play Deadpool.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
what
Ryan
I'm saying.
Reynolds loves Deadpool.
Hey, when he played Wade in X-Men Origins, I liked that.
yeah.
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 Right
I
up
was-
until they sewed his mouth shut.
Yeah,
Oh, that was
up
the
until
worst.
then.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, Wade, if you didn't talk so much, you'd be the perfect soldier.
The crazy part about that was it gave us some of the best jokes in Deadpool later.
Yeah.
So it all works.
They did. They did bring it back.
I saw there was a tweet by the director of Green Lantern after Deadpool 2 came out,
Yeah.
after the end credits scene,
Yeah.
where
Where
he just
Ryan,
kills
where
Ryan
he
Reynolds.
kills
Yeah.
Ryan
And
Reynolds.
he's like, yes, I'm going to be big thanks to Green Lantern, and he just shoots him and stuff.
Yeah.
The director, linked to that on his Twitter, and he's all like, well played, Deadpool.
Well played, Deadpool.
I'm like, all right.
Taika Waititi was in that. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a friend.
He's
Yeah.
everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Yeah.
We've just never seen him.
This is when the villain reveals his plot and that he was there the whole time, and we all just start remembering all the movies that Taika Waititi was in.
You realize we've all been
Right,
subject to the Taika Waititi everywhere system.
That's right.
That's right.
It's the Waititi effect.
Yeah.
The Tiger Vision.
Taika Vision.
So I wanted to bring up a movie. Have you guys ever seen the 1994 Fantastic Four movie?
I have not, but I have seen.
Are we
clips
talking
and
about
things
the? Are we
about it.
talking about the one with the hand on the stick that at the end when he waves
Yes.
at the very end? You see the
Yes.
stick? Yes, I've seen it. I've seen the bootleg.
The movie that never came out.
Yep.
So
Oh,
the
wow.
only way you can see it is the bootleg.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it's great. So apparently, the producer, who coincidentally, or actually maybe not coincidentally at all, went on to produce the 2005. Was it 2005 that the Fantastic Four came out?
Really? He went on to produce that?
Yeah, well, he bought the rights to the Fantastic Four from Stan Lee himself in the
Whoa.
70s. But he was never able to find a studio who wanted to do it because superhero comic book movies were trash.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted
Yeah.
to fund
They
that.
were schlocky trash back then.
So finally, his rights to the rights were running out because he hadn't done anything with it.
Yeah.
And so he decided in the 90s, I'm just going to fund it myself. And so he put down $1 million and he
Whoa.
hired some dudes who were like really good at making like low budget B movies.
Nice.
And he was like, let's hammer out this Fantastic Four movie.
And they asked him, where'd you get the money? And he was like, don't worry about it.
No,
All right, I got to go to France.
It was just his money. And
I know.
He was German, by the way.
I know. Oh, sorry.
But
Anytime it's mystery money, I just default back to Tommy Wiseau.
exactly.
The money he may have possibly stolen as DB Cooper.
No, he worked for the mob. That's what it was.
Oh yeah.
I thought he owned a clothing factory or something.
But one of the I can't remember which guy it was who he was one of the bosses at Marvel at the time,
Okay.
and he actually went on to do a lot of stuff in the MCU
Okay.
as far as production went.
Yeah.
He got wind of the movie and was like, I don't want a cheapo movie coming out of a Marvel property because it will cheapen the brand.
Right.
So he goes to him and he buys the rights to the movie for like $2 or $3 million, so he can recoup his costs and stuff.
Yeah.
And then said, destroy all copies of the movie.
Nice.
But of course, it was bootlegged and leaked.
Yes.
And so people
That's-
ended up seeing it.
That's amazing. That's really. I actually like that. It's a neat little bit of history.
And I'd say
Yeah.
it's worth a curiosity watch if you want to, because the costumes and stuff aren't terrible.
Really?
Yeah, the sets are really awful because
Sure.
they had no money for sets.
All right. Of course.
And
And the Doom outfit was kind of bad.
it was bad in that it looks like it looks cheap,
Yeah.
but for what it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Sure.
It
Right.
looked a lot. All the costumes were very very close to their comic book counterparts because the costume designer went and bought an assload of Fantastic Four comics
Nice.
and based his designs on that.
Nice.
So I was always impressed just by how much work was actually put into it, despite the fact that it was a low budget movie, basically that was meant to maintain the rights.
Yes.
Nice.
But he managed to keep the rights and then went on to, of course, make the Fantastic Four movie in 2004 or 5, whenever it came out.
Right.
And, of course, its sequel, Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Rise of the Silver Surfer.
It sounds like this bootleg movie needs to be preserved.
Well, it is.
It's history.
You can get it
Yeah.
you can find it on the internet pretty easily.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And now we're going to be getting new Fantastic Four.
Are we?
That Marvel has confirmed. They're
Marvel's
like, yes, we
confirmed
do
it.
have plans for mutants and for the Fantastic Four.
Well, I will reserve my judgment for when I get to see Galactus, because there's going to be a Galactus in them.
there
And if
has to
there's not-
finally be a Galactus.
if there's not-
We're doing the Eternals, guys.
Guys, we did Galactus already.
No, shut up.
You mean
No,
Mr. Cloud?
no.
Here
we're not
he
gonna
is.
talk about
Just
that.
like how
Mr.
we
Cloud.
did Parthenax.
That name
We're not talking
again
about the
is
bees.
Mr. Cloud.
We're not going to talk about Bee Colossus or Bug Colossus or Bug Galactus or whatever he was.
Yeah.
Whatever.
A swarm of bees. I am Galactus. I am a swarm of bees.
I know we were talking earlier about like our favorite comic book movies, but I feel like we should still point some light onto some really good comic book media that exists outside of films. Specifically, I mean the season of Punisher that we've seen and the season of Daredevil that we've seen on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm gonna go ahead and throw Luke Cage in there. I'm gonna go ahead and throw Luke Cage in there too. I know Luke Cage ended kind of horribly, and then it just got canceled. But Luke Cage wasn't bad.
Luke Cage was, I would say, 3/4 really good.
I would agree. There's an exact moment where it stops being good.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a hard
Iron Fist,
point.
Yeah, Iron Fist, on the other hand, not so good.
I've been told Iron Fist isn't that good. I'm going to have to watch it and determine that for myself. I liked Jessica Jones except for all of the sex.
Well,
Right.
I liked Jessica Jones because they kept that in there, and I was like, yeah, this is Jessica Jones.
That's Jessica
and
Jones.
then they ruined the Purple Man, and I was done.
It was just David Tennant.
No, David Tennant is fine. The whole story arc, his entire design was screwed, and I hated it.
Absolutely.
And
So-
then it got canceled.
Josh, just for those listening, can you please give us the exact moment on when the Luke Cage TV show just stopped being really good?
Give us the timestamp.
I think it was when he runs up to the guy on the street, doesn't even know who he is, just clocks him right in the face, screaming, "I'm Luke Cage!"
When Diamondback runs
Yeah.
up, punches a guy, kills him, and says, "I'm Luke Cage!"
And everybody believes him.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
That seems like a strong
That-
black man. That's got to be Luke Cage.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm
Luke-
mad because
Luke
Cottonmouth
Cage.
was a great villain. I loved Cottonmouth, and then they just did him so dirty.
Oh man. That's
They
too
basically
bad.
switched it halfway through the first season. It's just like, and now he's gone, and this other person's taken over who dressed up in the silly suit from the comics. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, wait, what? What?
He's like
Yeah,
a
it just-
rejected
it just
Metal
kinda-
Gear boss.
Oh, really? That's too... I don't know if I should like that or not. I feel like I should like that because I like Metal Gear bosses. I don't know if that's praise or not. I don't know how to
I'm
No,
gonna
think-
give you the
think
go-ahead
bad.
to like it.
Right, yes. Sorry. But, oh man, that first season of Punisher that we watched, anytime the Punisher, like, cornered a bad guy, I'm just already turning to Jingles. I'm like, look, he's gonna punish super good right now.
He had a family.
Family. Oh man, a lot of people got punished.
Oh man, there was so much punishment that happened, bro.
It was so good. He punished them so good. What was your favorite punishment in that first season?
That's hard to say. There were some pretty top-notch punishings that happened that first season.
I think one of my favorite punishes that he did was when he punished 3 guys with a sledgehammer.
that was a
That
pretty,
sounds
With
like
the-
a righteous punishment.
With like a busted sledgehammer, so all he really had was the top part, and he punished them
That's all
over and
you
over
need.
again.
You just hit them with the head?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I liked early on in the season when he punished all of those guys that were gonna kill that one kid because he messed up.
Yeah.
And then he punished all of them and then just buried them in concrete.
Yeah, that's the one I'm
Yeah, that's
That's the
referring
one.
to.
That's a good
Yeah.
punishing.
Another really great punish that I saw was probably near the end of the season where he carves up a dude's face up against a mirror.
Oh yeah.
He punished his face against the mirror.
Yeah. It wasn't a complete punishing though.
Yeah, but he did. Yeah, it was intentionally held back.
Yep.
Because he needed a message to be left.
I want to see Maximilian Dude make a add-on to his Rate the Fatality thing.
Rate the
Call it
Punish.
Rate the Punishment.
Rate the
He
punishment.
goes through like a Punisher movie.
And you know what? You want to know something? There were a couple of times where he didn't punish, but he severely reprimanded.
That's right.
Yeah, I think my favorite Punisher. Yeah, my favorite Punisher moments were actually the times when he was on Daredevil before they launched the series.
Oh man, he
Where
punched a
it's
bunch of
kinda
people
this-
there too.
Quandary, but it was kind of this quandary of, am I really doing the wrong thing? These
Yeah.
scumbuckets deserve to die. Am I really doing the wrong thing? And so it's kind of this idea that he's kind of going up against this. It almost feels like Batman, Superman in a way,
Yeah.
except that,
good.
Daredevil's a lot more brutal than Superman would be.
Yeah.
You know, but there's this idea of there's a point of opportunity for redemption, and then Punisher's kind of going, is there though?
Yeah.
Is there really? You know, and so
Yeah. Oh gosh, I love that line when they're confronting each other and they have that goon tied up and he's trying to force Daredevil into the choice of like, you have to kill this guy or he's gonna go and he's gonna murder somebody else. Like, you have to make that choice right now. And Daredevil asks him, what kind of choice is that? And then Punisher tells him, that's the choice I make every time I'm about to pull the trigger. And I was like, oh god, yes!
Everybody keeps telling me how good the Punisher series is, but I'm not going to watch it until we get Frankencastle.
oh gosh, Frankencastle.
The show's been canceled, bro.
It has been canceled.
So you're
I
never going to
know.
watch Punisher.
No,
Yeah.
probably not.
Hey,
I honestly-
just
No, go ahead.
remember, Disney Plus. We have the opportunity to bring him back, but they're not going to bring him back nearly as vicious. On
It's
Disney
not going to be
Plus.
Frankencastle. It's not the
But-
same.
That said, we also have the fact that Disney does own Hulu. So if
They
they wanted
do?
to do
Oh,
the Punisher,
I didn't know that.
they do own Hulu. So if they wanted to bring Punisher back, they could do it as a Hulu series.
You know,
Now they can market their own ripoff shows.
you know, I just really, I would just like to see more Punisher of that quality. I would just really like to see more of that. Oh gosh, you want to see like top quality Daredevil and Punisher in those both shows? There's that episode when it's like one of the last episodes that Punisher is on the Daredevil show, and it's Daredevil and Punisher, and they're in a graveyard, and they have a heart-to-heart, and it's like 15 minutes of some of the best television I've ever seen. Just some
Really
of the
good.
best character work and dialogue I've seen. It's amazing.
Okay, maybe I'll watch The Punisher without Frankencastle then.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Pie Man. I'm sorry you can't get your Frankencastle
I
going.
want Frankencastle and the Morlocks.
These are your
Pie-
demands.
Pie Man, I'm sorry. I don't know when you're going to get Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Where he teams
Hey,
up with
all I got
Baby
to tell you
Thanos.
is that if you guys decide to start playing Hero Clicks, there is a Frankencastle figure.
Oh, is there?
And I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the next wave of Marvel stuff, we're getting a Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Will's been telling us to try to get into HeroClix, and we've been thinking about getting into HeroClix. Guys, don't get into HeroClix. Will is super good at HeroClix.
I
don't
don't-
play
Will will
HeroClix.
murder you.
Will
on
will
Hero-
murder all of us
Don't
in
even-
HeroClix. Do not play HeroClix.
So yeah, we're thinking
So,
about.
yeah, we were. Yeah, it was like, wow, cool. Yeah, cool. HeroClix.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
sounds
click
like
the
that.
heroes, right?
I think that's how it works.
I haven't played any of the new versions of HeroClix, but I used to have a bunch of... actually, I still have them. A bunch of Mage Knight and Mech Warrior clicks. And it used to
Yeah,
be...
that was definitely precursors.
Yeah, it used to be that you could play them together if you just kind of fudge some of the side rules a little bit.
Yeah.
So maybe we could do that. We'll have Marvel Heroes versus Mech Warriors.
That sounds
Well, of
rad.
course,
That'd be rad.
and I will mention too the fact that they've had several Ninja Turtle sets too. So for the
Oh, no
for the
way.
brothers Rasco who love the
Man,
Ninja
they make
Turtles.
hero
and
clicks
such.
out of everything.
All right, fair
Oh,
enough.
wait, I do have two. I have two HeroClix. I have Mystique and I have the Hulk.
Oh, nice. Are they... Hang on. I'm going to turn to my local expert. Will, are those tournament viable?
Depends on where they are. More than likely, if he got them during the era of Mage Knight and stuff, probably not. But that's okay. To learn how to play, it doesn't matter what pieces you're getting. You know, you just again, you just learn
the
it.
Mystique is from like the first series for HeroClix.
Yeah.
And then the Hulk was like a special edition that I got somewhere.
Yeah,
Since-
it's probably the old school Hulk with the white T-shirt.
Yeah, he's
ripped
got the
with
shirt.
blue pants. Yep, that's the old promo one. Yep, that's way
Okay.
back in the beginning of the
Sweet.
set. So no, definitely not tournament relatable, but we can.
Darn.
Since
I think we might be able to get you some stuff in the near future if need be. That's more modern.
since
if
there
I
was
can
like
pull
a
some stuff
weird
together here.
crossover in the past with Attack on Titan and the Avengers, can we get HeroClix of the Titans?
Oh, man.
Well, they make
One
big
thing that's
clicks.
cool about, yeah, they do. They have like Sentinels. They just released some new Sentinels. Matter of fact, one of them's the Cap Sentinel, and then they released a giant Wonder Woman a while back. So
Yeah, I think I saw
You know, they have-
I think I saw the Sentinel at the comic book store. not too long ago.
I'm going to ask a question that I've never asked you guys. So where is y'all's nearest comic book store?
It's about
another
half
time.
hour away.
Yeah,
About
about
30
half hour.
minutes.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a drive, but it's there.
It's the only one we got, though.
It's
Yeah.
closer
Yeah.
because it like up until like I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago, the closest comic books store was like an hour's drive.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And you know it's a legit comic book store because they eliminate space for customers for more books.
That's right.
it's so cluttered.
It
It's
is
very
so cluttered.
But that's what you want.
Yeah.
That's how you know
It's
they're
true.
for real.
That is very true.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of my stuff offline through the Comic Book Shopping Network. It's on Facebook. Due to the fact that the closest comic book store to me right now is about an hour and a half away, and apparently they don't like money. Because when I tried to go in and buy a bunch of stuff and have them ship it to me, their response was, "Oh yeah, we'll get it for you in September," and then October, then November come around, and they've not pulled anything. So then my friend from Houston was just like, "Hey, we're starting this comic book shopping network thing in January. Do you need me to set up a pull list for you? You've already got a pull box with us anyway from back when you were here. You can just start sending you stuff in the mail." I'm like, "Yes, yes, please."
I think it's
Yeah.
stuff like that is exactly why I think the future of buying comics is just going to be online.
Yes.
Either through, like, Kindle or reading, or just buying it off of, like, Amazon or whatever.
Well, I know Marvel and DC now are pushing really hard their digital editions.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
Every single time you buy a hard copy, they're like, "We got a digital edition too. You can
Yeah, you get it
the digital
Yeah.
edition."
Or, like, entire, comic reading, like, I don't know what you call it, like, apps, I guess, or whatever, where, like, you buy a subscription and you just have access to a library of comics.
So speaking of purchasing physical things and then getting a digital thing for it, I wanted to let Pieman know that I made a huge mistake this week. I was sick for a few days and couldn't
Yeah, I
really
can kind
do
of see the
anything.
remnants floating around.
Yes,
Sure, sure.
we're getting better.
Yeah.
But I made a huge mistake, and I wanted to hear how you felt about it. But I have downloaded and have been playing quite a bit Magic the Gathering Arena.
Oh man.
Have you?
Oh no. Oh
I'm currently mid-silver and ranked.
Really?
Yes.
You've been playing ranked?
Yeah.
no. He played 2 casual matches against boss, and in bots he was like, "I think I want to play ranked."
No, I played against bots for a while because
my
I had to
goodness.
level up.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like level 9 or 10 now.
Oh man. Wow.
I can't get him to stop. I can't get him to stop.
Never did I expect you would do that.
You know, I was talking with our mutual friend Alex the Burning Fist.
Yeah.
And I was just like, we were just talking, and I was all like, Magic the Gathering Arena is a game that I feel like I would love a lot, but I'm keeping myself from getting it because I feel like I'm going to lose hours of my life doing it. And then I was just like, oh, you know what? We'll just go ahead and download it for later.
Yeah.
And then it was all like, you downloaded it. I was all like, okay, I'll just do the tutorial
yeah.
real quick. And then I did the tutorial. And then it's all like, okay, you can play against the bot and level up so that you master the different decks that they give you. I was like, okay, I'll just do that. And I just hadn't stopped for a few days.
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, it's 1-to-1 Magic the Gathering, which is all you can really ask for.
Right.
So
So I'm going to have to look through the deck that you gave me. I think you gave me 2 decks, actually.
did I give you both of them?
I think you gave me both.
I might have.
And maybe we'll have to make something happen.
Yeah, I don't
now
know
we'll-
if I don't think those ones have the. Do you mean you want to play physical, or did you want the codes from them? Because I don't.
I don't need the codes, but I mean physical and or digital. I'd be willing to play with you.
I will say this. For everything I am and have done in HeroClix over the years, Magic the Gathering I am horrible at.
Yeah.
That said, I'm pretty sure I could be beaten. Aunt May could beat me in a game of Magic the Gathering. It's just that bad.
Hey, look, Will. Duel Monsters, Yu-Gi-Oh! That's my jam. I don't even touch Magic the Gathering.
Oh, actually, Smiter, I wanted to tell you.
No.
I finally got a card that I've wanted for so long in Duel Monsters.
What you get?
I got Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning.
Hey!
Long
I
considered.
assure you, that's an exciting bit of news.
Long considered the most busted card in the game until
Yep.
they added a bunch of stuff to counter it.
Yeah. Wow.
Is
cool,
this
man.
the Bloodluster Soldier?
Cool, man.
We're talking about card games, not comic book movies.
That's true.
Let's talk about
Well,
comic book
Yeah.
card games.
Well, I was gonna say because after I saw
Oh,
you
Lord.
picked up Magic the Gathering Arena, I was telling you like, how is it we haven't yet at this point to get our Hearthstone / Magic the Gathering Arena equivalent to like a Pokemon card game?
I know.
Like,
We were
that's-
talking about that too.
I'm surprised we haven't gotten anything
They do
like
have
that.
an online version of the Pokemon card game. They
Yeah.
just don't have it in its own sort of self-contained app.
Interesting.
There's no mobile version, which is really what you need if you want your
Yeah.
card game to take off.
Right.
And Arena doesn't have it yet either.
No, it doesn't.
But they're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
What
think
they need
Arena's
to do-
only available on thing. And then there's Dueling Network for Yu-Gi-Oh, but I don't think Dueling Network has a mobile feature, does it?
No, the only mobile version is Duel Links, and that's the speed dueling version. So it's not like the. It's not the.
Yeah.
Which I refuse.
game.
I refuse to adhere to.
Oh, that was a angry grumble if I've ever heard it. Yeah, like the last
Yeah.
version of like a digital Pokemon card game thing that I think I remember is the Pokemon trading card game for the Game Boy
Yes.
Color.
There you go.
The Game Boy Color version.
If there was a free online version of the Pokemon trading card game, I would probably pick it up and try it
I'd
out.
pick that up.
I don't
Man.
like Hearthstone, but Magic the Gathering Arena though.
Oh, hey, Will.
Yes.
Speaking of like Duel Links and speed dueling and stuff, it was Pieman, like several months ago, we were all hanging out, and then Pieman was like, "Smiter, would you like to try speed dueling?" Then he pulled out these little specialty decks, and we did speed dueling.
Oh, gosh.
It was so weird.
It is weird.
It is so because it's all like, no, you don't have access to like your full field. You have like only 3 cards. And,
No, it's supposed to be whittled down and quick, so you can
Yes.
just do a quick, dirty duel.
yeah, a quick dirty duel. But one thing,
That's what it
Pieman
feels like.
and I are terrible with duel monsters, and it's not like we're terrible at duel monsters. We are terrible with it because we get really dramatic with it.
That's how it should
That's
be
how
played.
I like to think, like, the way we play is the way it should be played. And the way that we play is that we'll play like a normal game of Yu-Gi-Oh, but the entire time we're running commentary like it's from the show. Like if Pieman puts down a monster that I'm worried about, I'll like pretend to be shocked. I'll be like, oh no, it's your like one of your undead underworld monsters, or I can't even remember your awesome zombie deck, which just negates any effects of like them being in the graveyard. It's like, no, they're not really in the graveyard. Here you go.
Zombie in the graveyard? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Here,
The
back on the
definition of
field.
zombie is it's not in the graveyard.
The zombie is not in the graveyard. In fact, your monster is in the graveyard.
How can it be dead if it's a zombie? Duh.
Yeah. But like when he starts busting out cards, I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna need to pull out all the stops in order to defeat this duelist. And then Fireman comes back with like, you fool, how dare you challenge me and my army of the undead.
I activated my trap card.
Yeah,
You put your finger over your draw and you believe in the heart of the cards.
I have to believe
Every
in the
once
heart
in a
of the
while, you
cards.
throw out like an effect card, and the other one's like, "What is that?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anytime and if one of us pops up with a trap card, we milk that sucker for all it's worth.
Yes, absolutely.
We have it up.
Foolish mistake. You triggered my trap card.
Trap card? How did I not catch that?
Behold.
Behold, my wave cannon. Now, every turn that my wave cannon is on the
No,
field.
wave motion cannon's a spell card.
Sorry.
Man, remember that episode of the anime where everybody put their decks away and they just played Dance Dance Revolution all day?
That was a good episode.
I honestly
So,
feel
my
like
greatest-
that's actually like if you're gonna play Yu-Gi-Oh, you contractually you're obligated.
You
to
have
play
to
like
play that way. And we always, like, even if we both know what the card does, we have to explain what the card does.
Yes.
Pot of Greed
right,
allows
right.
me to draw 2 cards.
Ugh, but he's only allowed 1 card per draw phase.
Not with Pot of Greed.
I'm really
My-
greedy.
Yeah. My favorite moment ever was playing a Battling Boxers deck back when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the day. And
Oh,
a guy,
wow.
like I did Battling Boxers, I got my lead yoke on the field, and somebody tried to dark hole me. The problem
Oh,
was they had like 4 monsters on the field. I'm just like, okay, so you're gonna dark hole me. I'm gonna detach this. It's gonna be bigger. And by the way, yeah, I don't die
nice.
for that turn. And so he like
Nice.
lost all 4 of his creatures because he thought he was going to be able to get rid of me and then go off again the next turn. And
Yeah.
so it was like he went from like, it was like a 3,000 beaters just sitting there. And he's like, okay. And so he did something else. And it was just like the next turn he did something. When I summon this monster, destroy target monster. All right, I detach again. Now I'm at 35 and you die.
That's awesome.
Don't you guys love Ixie's monsters?
I may be the weirdo in all of this, but I prefer synchro summons myself. But that's just
Synchro
me.
summons are cool, and I love them. And in the Battling Boxer deck I had one of the chameleons. It was like a chameleon that was a tuner. And that's what I used because basically when
nice.
he hit the field, he could bring back a level 4 from the grave back to the field, and you just synchro summon into an 8-star.
Yep.
This is now a Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. Just so
This is
everybody
now a
knows.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
podcast. I'm sorry. One last thing.
Where do you sit on pendulum summoning?
Oh,
No, it's Link summoning now. That's all
it's
the
Link,
rage.
so that's all the rage. All the kids are all about
Yeah,
the Link
that's
summon.
why I stopped.
Look, man,
Anyway.
I don't play any decks unless it's a full tribute deck
Yes.
or a full ritual deck.
Full ritual deck.
Only ritual cards.
Only
100%.
ritual monsters. Really quick.
Jingles just
so,
wants to get out the Obelisk the Tormentor.
No, I'm all about that Thousand Eyes Restrict.
And
Dude.
Hungry
Oh, okay.
Burger.
get out of here with that Thousand Eyes
and
Restrict.
Cartoon World is out for some reason.
Thousand
Yeah,
Eyes
Toon
Restrict.
World is out for no reason at all because I don't have any Toon monsters.
Dude, Thousand Eyes Restrict is still banned.
Yeah,
Get
it is
out of
still
here with that.
What's that other one that's not banned?
Oh.
Which one?
Isn't there a
Oh,
Thousand Eyes?
Relinquished.
Relinquished, yes.
It's the one of the materials for Thousand Eyes Restrict.
Yes. But I believe even that is restricted. Like to 1 per deck.
Yeah, Relinquished is strong if you use them right.
Sorry, you were saying.
No, I was gonna be like, it should be also noted, Will, that like we play that way, but there have been times where Pyman and I have tried. We have tried to play seriously, and then no matter what
Not
we
sure,
do,
serious.
and no matter what we do, it eventually turns into that every time. We
pretty
can't
great.
help ourselves.
No, I've watched like Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, and I can't stand it because they just sit
I
there
know.
and just tap their cards.
Tap the card, like that goes to the graveyard.
and it's like
that's
that's so
used to.
dull. Have fun.
Ugh, come on.
I saw a
Nice.
clip.
Yeah, how I feel whenever I see people frame data mining like fighting games.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, right.
I saw a really short clip on YouTube of this guy playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I think it was at like one of those places where it's just like a bunch of tables and a bunch of people playing Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
And it goes against the guy. It's like a 3-second long clip.
Yeah.
And the guy, he like takes life point damage. And he's just like, ah! Ding, 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 ding.
Be that guy. Be that guy.
Be
when you
that
play.
guy. That's another thing that we do too. It's like anytime we take life point damage, we recoil. Ah!
Oh, wow.
Okay, we got to bring it back.
I'm
We've
sorry.
gone
I'm
too
sorry.
far
I'm
out.
sorry.
We're swimming too far
Yu-Gi-Oh
out
is
to
a comic
sea.
book. Yu-Gi-Oh had a movie.
It did.
It did. It had a movie.
It's had a couple
He's
movies.
had a few movies.
And
None of them
yeah.
are good.
No.
I hope we get a good Fantastic Four movie.
Me
Yeah.
too. I've heard people are asking for John Krasinski and his gorgeous wife Jessica Biel. To,
Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt. Gosh, Jessica Biel, Emily Blunt. Dang it.
They're the same.
They
Jessica Biel
yeah.
is Justin Timberlake's wife, I believe.
Oh man.
Yes, that's true.
I don't
Yeah.
know who's
But
married
anyway,
to who anymore.
people are asking them to be Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic.
That'd be interesting.
I say yes to all that.
So an actual married couple.
I'm good
Actual married couple. Yeah.
Only if they bring Michael Chiklis back is the thing.
Yeah.
with that. Dude, I'm going to say this. I remember back when they did that other Fantastic Four movie that we should dare not speak about because you had the naked thing. in more ways than one. Anyway, naked thing. Anyway, so they had Michael B. Jordan come on there, and everybody was talking about, oh, well, people, it's controversial because people don't want to race bend characters in the Fantastic Four. I'm like, here's an idea. Terry Crews is Ben Grimm. There's your race bending thing. You give him blue eyes. Done.
Yeah.
It works on so many levels.
I just really like
He can
Terry
be serious
Crews.
when he needs to be.
I could dig Terry Crews
But
as
then-
Ben Grimm.
Yeah.
could
Terry
take Terry
Crews
Crews in anything.
thing, that'd be freaking awesome.
That would be pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
you remember movie Gamer?
Oh yeah.
Where they took like it was a big game thing
No.
where they took over the bodies of like the
No.
prisoners.
No, shut up.
No.
And Terry Crews is in that.
Is that the you die in the game, you die in real life?
No,
No, that was
it's
another-
when people like take over the bodies of serial killers.
Yeah, prisoners.
And, like people on death row, and then that's their video
That's
game.
their FPS.
That's
Yeah.
their FPS.
Yeah.
And
So much- that's so
there's
much
a
worse.
whole like league about like these high level gamers
Yeah.
that take over the bodies of these people.
Yeah.
And Terry Crews is in that.
Yeah.
There's this whole scene where he's like he killed a guy and he has like this monologue, and he's got blood all over his hands and stuff
Yeah.
like that. He was initially going to be in his underwear, but he asked the director, he's like, what if I was naked? The director was like, really? And he's like, yeah. It's like, okay. So the whole scene, he's just naked.
Nice.
It's just blood on his hands and just
That
being
whole
creepy.
setting sounds like it wouldn't be all that out of place in like a new Purge movie.
No, all the visuals in that movie are disgusting.
Gosh.
Like,
There
it's just so gross, and
Yeah.
I hate it.
They had some really
So,
cool
I got-
stuff in there.
Not as
Yeah,
bad as
right?
Spawn.
Yeah. So to get us back in Lou 2, we want to also consider, we should, at least consider the animated properties that have come out of comic books. For example,
Sure.
the DC animated universe and things like that. We can talk about that for a while. We can talk about Akira, one of the greatest, or Ghost in the Shell, the non-live action version, but the actual animated movie based off the books.
What, you don't like ScarJo?
Yeah.
I love ScarJo as Black Widow, but she should never be an Asian woman. I know she says you should be able to play anything you want to play, but I'm like, okay, come on, ScarJo. If you're going to tell me you're going to play a black man next, I'm going to sit there and look at you funny with a side eye and just be like, I want to see how you pull this off.
Robert Downey Jr. did it just fine.
Yeah, and look at the fallout.
That was hilarious.
And look at the fallout he's getting now because of it, which is just silly. Because again, we live in a world where the past is something we can now go back and look at and try to,
I'm sure it'll be
frame
fine.
people for stuff.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
He's RDJ. He'll be good to go.
Yeah.
I mean, the tone of that performance and the the entire performance itself, I think was
Oh yeah.
it makes up for.
It's entirely self-aware.
Yeah. I told somebody one day, they were talking to me about that. They were saying, oh, we shouldn't be able to accept that. I said, let me ask you a question. They said, yeah, Dolomite. Have you ever watched Dolomite? It's like, yeah, I love Dolomite. Dolomite's great. Classic stuff. I said, stop right there. Dolomite was just as satirical as that role was for Robert Downey Jr.
Precisely.
There you go.
Dolomite.
I say the
Compare it,
MCU
because
are
that's all it
cowards
is.
for
I
not.
said you can't get mad at Dolomite, which is basically ripping on black people, using black people to do it. And then you take the same concept as this and say, okay, he's basically playing a black guy, but that's the joke. He's a white guy playing a black guy because all his roles have been him being so method that he has to become to play the other person.
If you ask me, the MCU is cowards for not replacing War Machine with Robert Downey Jr. also.
Oh.
I was just thinking of that. Just Robert Downey Jr. as both.
It's Rhodey.
That's Rhodey and Tony Stark.
That would be odd.
Oh man.
Oh,
So,
man. So, when you were bringing up the animated superhero movies, like the DC animated films,
yeah.
one of Jingles' if not his absolute favorite animated DC property is Under the Red Hood. And
Yes, that's
I
a great
really
one.
like that. I really like that one too. But let's not forget that Marvel also tried to put out animated movies
They
as
did.
well. And not many of them are that good.
I would say
Again,
Planet Hulk was Planet Hulk was pretty much the closest thing that I really enjoyed for the Marvel side.
Yeah.
I like the Planet Hulk movie. I like the Hulk versus
for no-
films.
Iron Man
If
was
for no-
not
yeah.
great.
If for no other reason, just because you had Beta Ray freaking Bill,
Oh yeah, he was in that. Yeah.
because they couldn't get the rights to use the Silver Surfer at the time, so they replaced it with Beta Ray freaking Bill. I was just like, yes.
Love Beta Ray
Bring me
Bill.
all the Beta Ray Bill you can stand to bring it all to me, and I'll take
But
it.
yeah.
Pour it all in my mouth.
But anyway, so Under the Red Hood.
Is my favorite. Is my favorite DC animated property of all time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's really incredibly well paced. I think it's incredibly well acted. A lot of people like to make a big deal because that Supernatural guy was in it, but I didn't really care about Supernatural, so I
thought he did the voice really well for Jason Todd.
yeah. Well, what I'm saying is that how he did in that role was amazing, and I judge him by how well he did in that role. A lot of people kind of complain that Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill were not involved with Under the Red Hood, but Bruce Greenwood and John DiMaggio.
Oh yeah.
John DiMaggio as the Joker is incredible, and
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
it's one of those examples of. So I've had a big problem for many years. I've talked with Snyder about it. I'm pretty sure I talked with the other guys about it, and I'll talk with you about it, Will. I'm tired
Yay.
of how many animated people doing the Joker when they can't get Mark Hamill, get somebody trying their best to be Mark Hamill, and failing at it miserably. Some people get close,
Okay.
but I'm tired of people just trying to be Mark Hamill's Joker and instead trying to do their own Joker. John
Well,
DiMaggio.
case in point.
John DiMaggio is not doing Mark Hamill's Joker. He's doing his own Joker.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
Is he the one that did the Joker? Is he the one that did the Joker as well in the Suicide Squad animated movie that they did?
I don't know who did that one. Let me look it up.
I love that version as well, because that Joker doesn't sound like it is trying to do the Mark Hamill, but it works. And of course, again, you got to remember too. A lot of people don't remember that Mark Hamill retired from the role. Like he literally said, the only way he would come back to do the animated Joker again is if they ever did Killing Joke.
Yep. Which they did.
And so when they did the Killing Joke, he came back just like he said he would. He was just like, well, they did it. I'm going to do it then.
And now he's moving on to do Skeletor in the Netflix He-Man.
Yes!
No way.
Yeah.
Did they
I
just?
was just about to
Oh,
mention
you're
that.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
Yes.
did
And
announce
Sarah Michelle
that.
Gellar. And Sarah Michelle Gellar is doing a voice, but they haven't said who yet. I kind of hope she does Evil Lynn, but I got a funny feeling they'll cast her as Tila.
Excuse me. I believe you'll find that it's pronounced Evelyn.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Lynn.
This is,
I could have
this
sworn
is
her
the
name
guy
was
who watched the old He-Man show for decades and then watched the reboots, both of them, even
Hey.
He-Man in space, ladies
Hey,
and
yo.
gentlemen.
Hey yo, so I was
assault
talking
on
with Mama Roscoe about He-Man the other day. By the way, she also grew up and loved He-Man as well. She loved
Okay.
He-Man and the Thundercats, and
Why?
she right. So I got her really, really good with this one, where it was because sometimes I'll just drop my Skeletor on her every once in a while, and she like just whenever she's not expecting. Yeah, and I got her really good one time with like we were just sort of talking about Skeletor one time, and I just said He-Man, and she lost her mind. But we were also talking about like some of her favorite characters and how she liked Beastman and Evil Lynn, and I was like, and that's when Jingles came in with the assist, and in his Skeletor voice said, "Evil Lynn, I thought your name was Evelyn this whole time." And as soon as he said that, she died.
Oh gosh, that's great.
There are fewer times in my life where I'm happier when I'm making my mother laugh, and that's one of those times.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I remember you telling us about Thundercats and and telling us about how much you like the new that new Thundercats that happened in the 2000s.
Oh, the 2011 Thundercats was great. 2021 that they're doing, I just saw the trailer for the Panthro stuff, and they're introducing the
right.
characters.
Thundercats Roar.
I want to stab my eyeballs out. Except I need my eyeballs for other things. But if I could stab my eyeballs out just so I would never see that again, I would almost be willing to do it just for that. Because that's horrid.
Oh.
I'm just like,
Hey, did you know that Thundercats and He-Man fought each other in the comics one time?
yes, not too long ago they did a big crossover thing, and I
Yeah.
still want to get it traded at some point.
And then Batman fought the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then that got turned into an animated film.
Which I have the animated film. I do not have the trades for that yet, but I will one day.
We actually got it for one of our Roscoe brothers, the one that likes Batman so much and also loves Ninja Turtles.
When are
You
we
know, they
gonna
have
get
action figures out now for that whole thing at most GameStops.
when are we gonna
But
get
they're
a
like
mini
40,
series
they're
for
like
the
25 to
comic
30 a
of-
pop for 2 figure sets. And in order to get all the Ninja Turtles and all the Batman cast, including Alfred apparently. Alfred is in one of those. I'm just like, I almost want it just for that.
With
I
serving
don't wanna
Batman
spend-
action.
I don't want to spend, drop, almost $100+ on several action figures just so I can have all 4 of the Turtles and all the Batman family that's included in that movie, which I think is Batgirl, Batman, Robin, and Alfred, and then the 4 Ninja Turtles. But the bad guys don't get any figures. And then I looked up the other day, and apparently they're releasing those figures separately. So, like, you get Shredder, and then you get the Rogues Gallery, but they're transformed into their mutagen forms.
Oh, lame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
No, yeah, that's what happens in the comic.
Yeah.
they gotta wring money out of you somehow.
That's right.
Yeah,
Fair
I think
enough.
my favorite. I'm gonna say probably my favorite DC animated movie is probably Batman, the Justice League one that they did where it was The New Frontier, based off the book, but book The New Frontier.
Right. Yeah, I know what
Man.
you're talking about.
It was very much based off the artist that did it. Of course, he died. I got my copy a week after he died because I was at a con somewhere and I saw it for like $3, and I was just like, I must buy this, And there's the point in the book in the story where you actually see John Henry Irons basically get lynched.
Oh my.
Because they go into that whole thing. Yeah, like it goes there. Like it's just like, because he's a superhero back in that era. And so, of course, he's trying to do the thing. He's got the hammer. He's got a hood on. And then they basically grab him and lynch him, like by the end of his little story arc. And
Wow.
so, but that pushes people to, because you got to remember this is during the, McCarthyism, and
That's
all
right,
that,
yeah.
and all that different thing is best what it's based on. And so stuff like that would have happened in the Deep South, especially at that time. But it was beautiful in that regard because even though it stuck that really hard, really quick, you find out that they use it to inspire people later, and that other heroes are inspired by John Henry Irons' sacrifice.
It was hardcore,
So it's really cool how they
and it was impactful.
Yes.
And I mean, come on, man. Neil Patrick Harris was playing the role of Flash in that one.
Yeah,
That alone is
I
enough
remember
reason
reading
to,
about that.
NPR is enough reason right there to love it. Or NPH, I don't know why I said NPR. NPR is a radio station.
I knew what you meant.
Totally different situation. Sometimes
Anyway.
my mouth moves quicker than my brain allows me to think.
Yes.
Gets the best of us.
I believe the Justice League movie we were talking about was Batman Assault on Arkham.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was Troy Baker that played the Joker in that.
Oh, yeah, he's done that a
Okay.
couple of times.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's done it for Arkham Origins,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
he's once again just doing a Mark Hamill impression. He's doing a very good Mark Hamill impression, but it's another one of those where I just wish people would just do their own Joker,
Yeah.
instead of trying to be another Joker.
Another
Well,
Mark Hamill
at the
joke.
same time, I don't blame them because there again, it's kind of like, when you set the bar so high, it's kind of hard not to try to do something that everybody loves. But at the same time, it's like you've got to, especially when you're the director. And I know Andrea Romano hasn't been doing a lot of the voice acting for a while, but But it's like somebody's got to just sit down and say, look, I need you to just do this as you would do it. Don't try to do this as Mark Hamill.
I also think
Mark Hamill, there's only one Mark Hamill.
There is only one
I
Mark
also
Hamill.
think while there are probably some voice actors doing the Joker that are trying to like do Mark Hamill's Joker, I also think maybe some of them are also just drawing from the same pool of stuff that a character like the Joker would be, and then they just happen to land on that performance. And it happens to be, and maybe it also coincidentally happens to be how Mark Hamill plays him.
You see, I've
Because
heard...
I don't know if Troy Baker is necessarily trying to go out of his way to copy someone like Mark Hamill.
Oh, he is.
Has he said that?
No, but he's voice matching Mark Hamill.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess also how many ways can you play the Joker?
There have been... John DiMaggio does it very differently.
Yeah.
Michael Clark Duncan is
Not Michael
No,
Clark Duncan.
Michael Clark Duncan.
Kevin Michael Richardson.
Kevin Michael Richardson.
Interesting
I said
Joker.
Michael Clark Duncan, I don't think has ever been Joker.
But I kind of
Gigantic
want that
Joker.
now, even though we can't.
Kevin Michael
No,
Richardson
that-
does a very unique Joker. The Joker in Batman Brave and the Bold is completely different from Mark Hamill's Joker.
Yes. He
There's
is very much that old school 60s Joker with that bit of a twist of the manic.
Just paint over his mustache.
just paint it
Pretty
over.
much.
There are
He's not
examples
cutting
of
it
people
off.
not doing Joker the same way as
Well,
Mark
I'm
Hamill.
not saying there aren't any examples at all, but how many are there?
There's only been so many people to play the Joker also.
Yeah.
I'm surprised nobody ever tried to do Heath Ledger for an animated series.
You know
That's
what?
a good
That's
point.
a good point.
Yeah.
Huh. I guess they're just worried about some sort of, I was about to say fallback, but like some sort of fallout for that happening. Because I'm trying to think about, like, well, what if I was a voice director? And then we had a property land on us where it's this new animated Batman show, and the Joker in that happens to have this sort of very grungy look to him.
Yeah.
Would I direct my voice actor who's playing the Joker in that? Would I direct him to sort of channel that same energy, or would I tell him that no, we got to find a whole new voice in that?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I would like, because it's such a powerful performance that Heath Ledger did.
Yes.
And it's such a
Yeah.
distinct performance that he did, that I feel like you could still direct somebody to do an homage to that.
Right.
It's a performance that we all wanted to see more of, but
Yes.
obviously we'll never get.
Yeah.
So maybe an animated movie would be a good place to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Jared Leto's Joker is a Joker that we don't want to see any more of, but we may have to later.
Well, Jared,
No, in
No,
Birds of Prey, they're like, yeah, no, Joker sucks. We don't like Joker.
you know what you can say about Jared Leto? He's not copying Mark Hamill.
That is true.
It's true. I will
That
say
he's
is
it's
doing his
true.
own thing.
At the very least, I can say he's not doing Mark Hamill's Joker.
He's damaged, guys.
Ha 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 ha.
Oh, he-
I can't wait to show you my toys.
But then,
I'm gonna hold my hand so that there's a smile over my face.
yes, because I tattooed a smile on my hand. Richard Epcar quite clearly is trying to do a Mark Hamill's Joker in the Injustice games and the Mortal Kombat vs. DC universe, and now in Mortal Kombat 11.
Holy cow, he's been in all of them.
Yeah, it's because Richard Epcar plays Raiden.
That's him?
That's Raiden. Yeah, so Raiden is also the voice actor for Joker in these games.
I can't believe this. Why did I never make that connection?
Because you didn't read it like I
I
did.
didn't read it. I can't believe this.
But it's one of those examples where I hear him trying to do
Yeah.
it. He's not doing it.
Yeah.
And it ticks me off.
Wow.
I do not like the way Richard Epcar does the Joker. I
They're
wouldn't
the
say that to his
same.
face because I love Richard Epcar.
They're the same. He's also Joseph Joestar.
He is
can't
also
believe you
Joseph
done
Joestar.
this.
I can't believe.
I can't believe you've done this.
Now they're all the same in my brain.
It's all Richard Epcar now.
Well, I mean,
It's all. We're all Wankersham now.
it's always been Wankersham.
It's always been Wankersham.
I'm about to say it. this point, do we just say that, that Joker is the stand for someone else?
No.
No.
Don't say that.
You don't know what you're opening up there.
You don't know what you're messing with.
So, yes, I think we're going to have to see about wrapping it up now.
Okay.
Because we're rapidly running out of time.
Will, have you seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
I've seen the first probably arc up until your boy turns into a vampire and proceeds to start trying to kill everybody. And then they're going through the whole thing where his brother is trying to train, and he's got the wackadoo guy that has the deal where he hits the frog, but doesn't hit the frog. He breaks the rock.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
So I know
The wackadoo guy.
So I know that, like, I'm so far out of the loop as far as JoJo's, but it got to the place where I'm just sitting there watching it and going, crap in a handbasket. I don't think I'm going to understand this at all.
No, it
Just
gets
follow
better.
this.
We're telling you, it
Gets better.
It does.
Yes, the first arc is kind of hit or miss.
Yeah.
I think the second story arc and the third story arc are great.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
really are kind of trying to figure things out, like
Fair
in the
enough.
first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it's actually like a case of
Please stick with it so we can talk to you about
The author was definitely trying to figure things out in that first part of
Yeah.
JoJo, and then he starts figuring it out in part 2 and onward.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're right. Yeah, we probably should be wrapping up.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Patrick Seitz plays the English voice of Dio.
Yes.
And Patrick Seitz was also Scorpion in a lot of Mortal
Yep.
Kombat video games.
Yes, I remember
Richard
that.
Epcar plays old Joseph Joestar, who was also Raiden.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I
It's
was going
all
to mention, by the way, before you guys wrap up, I do want to mention Hellboy has kind of had this weird thing where it went book, movie, animated series, and then back to movie.
yes.
It was a short-lived animated series, but and then of course the new movie, which I've not seen yet because I'm not brave enough to watch the new
That's
David
a-
Harbour version of.
That's a
of,
series that they've
Hellboy.
been like adapting over and over and over again from
I've-
like one comic series.
I heard somebody break down the new Hellboy movie, and it doesn't sound like something that I would
Yeah.
enjoy.
It really doesn't sound like fun.
And I really
Yeah.
like the first 2 Hellboy movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You even
Directed
liked,
by Guillermo.
You even liked Golden Army?
I even like the Golden Army.
Yeah, I did too. Everybody says Golden Army's
Yeah.
terrible, but
I've only ever
I
seen-
I had fun with it.
I've
Yeah.
only ever seen the first one. The Hellboy kind of came and went for me.
Guys, let's get Hellboy and watch it together.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. Before we go, we have a couple of voicemails here.
Oh, sweet.
From
Can
a
we?
really nice guy. His name is Will Holland. And I wanted to play them.
We should have him on the podcast sometime.
We should get him on the podcast sometime.
Yeah.
That guy sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I bet he's really cool.
He's pretty cool, I think.
I bet you he knows lots of nerd stuff.
I wonder if his
Oh.
dad and uncle traded trash bags of comics.
Wow, that's a weird thing for you to bring up on
You know,
nowhere.
that may have happened.
So we're going to go ahead
Yes,
and listen
please.
to these real quick.
Yes.
So this first one is the first one.
So as far as Brock Lesnar's skin dulling a razor blade, I don't think that it would ever make enough contact. I think it would shatter on the mere touch of Brock Lesnar's skin. I mean, I know, yes, Brock Lesnar's bled and some in UFC, but come on, New Jack ain't got enough strength to put that blade through Brock Lesnar's skin. It just shatter. And then Sable would show up, who's married to Brock Lesnar in real life, and she would proceed to suplex him into a million pieces. And then whatever was left, Brock Lesnar would take an F5 out of the stratosphere. And then he'd fall back into orbit and burn up in re-entry, and then come back, and Brock would just beat the snot out of him while Paul Heyman was announcing the match the whole time. The reigning, defending champion of the world, Brock Lesnar.
That is an
And he would just continue
amazing
to beat him up
Paul
until he
Heyman.
just got tired. So anyway, there you go on that, guys. There's my wrestling moment. Haha, blading was a crazy thing. Ric Flair knows all the way to about it. Still bleeds a lot. There you go.
That was the
It's
best
Paul
Paul
Heyman.
Heyman I've ever
He
heard.
does a good Paul Heyman, and he does a good Macho Man.
No, it's true. New Jack would never be able to get over on Brock Lesnar unless he tried to do a moonsault.
Yeah.
And then he'd almost break his neck.
You're
Or
not
bring
allowed
it-
to do moonsaults anymore.
The
Oh, no,
only way
sorry,
for-
shooting star presses.
Yeah.
You're
No, the
not
only
allowed
way
do
for him
those.
to get over Brock Lesnar in the ring is if he brought a gun with him.
I wish he just might.
He just might. And here we have I have another one, once again from Will.
Hey, this is Will from the Conversation About podcast, and I just got to mention I've never seen Chalk Zone either. I somehow managed to miss that, and so I don't know. Maybe I need to be tipped to where I can find this thing. I don't know if it's like on a streaming service or something. I'd love to check it out just so I can say I've seen it. There you go. So you're not the only one that has seen Chalk Zone. Apparently, I haven't either because I never heard of it until you guys mentioned it. So there you go.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not alone on that one.
Yeah.
I think the important question
You're
though,
not
Will,
alone.
is have you seen Secret of the Seal?
That's what I was hoping you were going to say.
I also have not seen that.
I'm telling you,
Well,
Pie-Man, it's not real.
It might not be. Maybe I dreamed it.
Maybe it is. So we did have a couple questions, but we're running out of time.
we can
Let,
tackle
let,
them on
let
the
me
next.
let me look at
Can
them
we-
real quick.
Can we just a little bit? Just a little bit?
I say
let
we
me
could
see.
always tackle it next episode, like at the beginning.
Yeah, let's have a look. See.
Quickly answer the questions.
Yeah, how many do we have?
3-word answers only.
I hate you.
Okay, so
Oh.
we have a question here from our good buddy Mammoth.
Ooh.
Mammoth Rook.
I like him. He
he's-
told.
That's
He's-
the one you call Mammy, right?
That's
Yeah.
the one I call Mammy.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
correct.
And I would never lie. Especially in front of my mammy.
And he says, what are some changes that you like or would prefer that comic book movies did versus their comic versions?
I think, it's interesting because we were bringing it up earlier. You cannot go 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it never works.
And I think a lot of it is mostly to do with like a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, that's tough.
Like,
I broadly, I would say, like, take liberties with, like, the story arcs that comics run, but make it something that would make sense in like, a movie instead of a
Yeah.
series of books.
yeah, one thing that Marvel has going for it that really works in its favor is the massive library of stories
Yeah.
that they have at their disposal. They can take parts and elements of each story and
Yeah.
put it into a single movie.
Yeah, and what they did with their big Infinity War arc
Yeah.
is they did Infinity Gauntlet, but they didn't do Infinity Gauntlet.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it worked.
Yeah,
They didn't
yeah.
try to 1-to-1 translate the comic.
That's right. Agreed.
They try to
Because-
go-
Because
then
if
we
you
would have had
had
Mephisto.
number one, if you had number one, you would have had to have so many other heroes, and at the time, Marvel didn't have the license to have in the movies.
That's
So that
right.
wouldn't have worked anyway. You could have done
bunch of other
1-to-1.
wacky
Just
stuff.
basically.
Yeah.
And I can
Yeah.
say personally, if they had kept Thanos' motivation of trying to date death, I probably would not have liked that movie.
Fair enough.
Maybe not.
You know what? I think I probably would have liked it a lot less.
Like, I probably would have walked away saying, well, that's stupid.
Yeah, the
It is
misguided
stupid.
moralism, I think, makes him a more
Yeah.
appealing villain.
I agree. All right, cool. Thank you, Mammoth.
Yeah, thank you, Mammoth. And then we had
You
one.
Mammoth Rook.
Yes, Mammoth Rook. We had one from Louis,
Oh,
as a longtime listener, good friend.
my boy.
And he says, what series/movies do you wish could continue? For example, Fast and Furious, the Marvel series, etc.
I mean, the Fast and Furious.
Oh
is
God, not
continuing.
Fast and
It
the
is.
Furious. No.
Wild Speed.
No.
Yeah,
It's
Wild
not
Speed
stopping.
Jet
Oh
Break.
gosh.
Yeah, that's the new one, Wild
That's the
Speed
new
Jet Break.
That hasn't come out yet.
Oh gosh, no.
Oh,
Have y'all
yes.
seen the- have y'all seen the trailer to the Fast 9?
Yes, I have.
Okay, y'all need to listen to my latest solo episode, and then we need to come back and do this again and just talk about the questions I asked.
Yes.
But anyway, one series that we wish would keep going.
So this actually is an interesting question for me personally, because this plays on something that I have felt like for a very long time, and that is, I think it's really important for things to end.
I agree.
That's a good point.
Because I feel like more often than not, there's such a huge kind of consensus that if something is good, it needs to keep going. But oftentimes, the reason something is good is because of the way it ended.
Yeah.
And things become bad when they go on for too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if they had ended Walking Dead in, like, the 3rd or 4th season, that would have been cool.
That would have been
I
cool.
would
But
like-
no, they've kept it going for
Yeah.
hours and hours and
Like,
hours.
in my own ideal world, I mean, Far From Home was a great movie, so I still
Yeah.
obviously have faith in the writers for the new phase of MCU. Like, those are going to be good movies.
Yes.
'cause
Yeah.
they've proven themselves. In my ideal world, though, Endgame would be where I'd cut it off.
Right.
Yeah.
We're
Because
done.
it's such a
Yeah.
solid end.
And then you can remember that whole period of time as like something that began and then ended really great, and it's just
Yeah.
a thing you can look back on.
And now it's still open to ruin now.
Right.
They could.
Rome could still fall.
In my case, I would say one that I would love if it would continue, but it won't, is the Del Toro Hellboy film.
movie, yeah.
films. I wish
Yeah.
they could have continued that.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen that third film that they were planning on doing, but then weren't allowed to do
Yeah.
because of reasons.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen that continue.
I would like to have seen them continue Scott Pilgrim, but actually break it up into smaller chunks so that they could go into a lot of the story that they weren't able to go into for the books. Because there's a lot of backstory with stuff that works better from the books than it does ever in the movies.
I would agree.
I think Scott Pilgrim would make a good miniseries.
I think you're
I
right.
agree. I think it would have been a good miniseries.
Like that would be a good Netflix. That would have been a good Netflix type thing.
Yeah.
You know, in this day and age, I wouldn't be surprised.
You know, and you know what? They didn't have the Dia de los Muertos thing in the movie, so 0 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's a bad movie.
Yeah, bad movie.
Bad movie, 0 out of 10.
So,
You know, just because of the way I look on it now, for something that I would like to see continue, I would have liked to have seen CSI Miami continue.
oh,
Because that series
Oh,
just
wow.
didn't have an ending. It just ended out of nowhere on a regular episode, and they were on like a one-way ticket to like solving crimes on the moon.
Would
They
you
were on their
want,
way,
so you would have wanted it to keep going, but have a definitive end at a
Yeah,
point.
I
like
would've
a
liked to have-
definitive awesome end.
I would have liked to have seen a finale, but we don't have a finale. We have a regular episode, and now it's done.
Yep.
You would have wanted the finale to be on the moon.
Finale has to be on the moon.
It has to
It
be.
has to be Horatio beating up Cubans on the moon.
It has to be
Yeah.
Horatio beating up Cubans on the moon with, and it's a big crossover event with all the other CSI
No,
shows.
he would get
Grissom shows up with his army
Yeah.
of bugs.
yeah.
He would show up on the moon, and then he would get into like a gunfight with like a drug dealer that makes his like moon base on there.
Now, you know
And
what?
then
I
he,
like
shoots
Snyder's
his suit
idea
off.
of him bringing in all of the other, the main guys from all the other CSI shows,
Yeah.
even all the canceled ones.
Yep.
Talk about your super crossover episode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll call it the Crisis on Infinite Crime Scene Investigations.
Infinite crime scene
CSI, Infinite
investigation.
Crisis.
Yes.
Infinite crime scene investigations. I agree.
Right on. Any more questions, or are we good?
That were the only questions we had.
Awesome.
Okay, cool.
So, I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Big Will Holland, please tell everybody that's listening where they can find you on the internet.
All right. Well, first things first, guys. Go check out the episodes of Conversations About ... where I get the honor to be part of the hosting crew with Jingles and Smiteer Roscoe, according to Leo Rush. Smiteer Roscoe, as well
We'll have to
as
explain that
Crafted
later.
Cosplayer sometimes. And they are really awesome hosts with me on this. And so it's been an interesting journey. We just finished up the second part of the isms episode, where we talked about different forms of racism, classism, sexism, and stuff like that. We got pretty deep in some conversation.
That sounds like
So
some meaty stuff.
come join us for that.
Pretty meaty.
Sometimes it's geeky, sometimes it's meaty, but it's all conversation. So we definitely want people to join. So they're available anywhere you can find a great, awesome podcast. And then also Big Will Holland on YouTube. I'm on Facebook, on the regular Facebook, and then also the Conversations About ... fan page. It's definitely there as well. And, of course, Instagram and Twitter, Will Holland 9973 is where you can find me on the internet otherwise. So there you go.
Alrighty. Thank you once again, Will, for joining us. It was a real good opportunity to
Yeah.
talk about something that I know all of us love.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is the ridiculous and crazy world of comic book movies.
Yeah, when
Yes.
you told me about the
Thank
subject,
you guys
and
for
that you
having
wanted
me
to-
on the cast. I finally get a chance to talk to everybody on the Mythos crew. It's
Yeah.
one thing to hear the voices; it's another thing to say dialogue with you guys.
Yeah. No, it's, I've been looking
great
forward.
to talk to you for the first time.
Yeah, I've been really looking forward to this episode,
Yes.
especially when you told me what the subject was going to be.
Yes.
This has been great, and I look forward to doing more future episodes as soon as we figure it out. I know one of the things that we really want to do sometime with you, Will, is we have
This idea.
this fan fiction, if you will, that we've had percolating
Okay.
about.
He's not ready.
The subject is about the WWE. So one of these days we're gonna have to
We're
do
gonna-
a podcast episode. We're gonna have
to sit
on.
you down,
We're gonna
and
sit
we're
you
going to
down.
tell you.
We're gonna
We're
tell
going to
you.
force feed you this.
We're gonna force feed you our fan fiction that we've been working on.
Yes.
That'll be.
As God if my witness is broken in half.
We're really excited about it. So we'll have that on at some point in the future. But for now,
By the way, also I need to know at least what links I need to get. I went to the Pathfinder thing. You know, we talked about on our episode of our show doing a Pathfinder campaign with Smiter doing as the DM for a deal and us getting characters and stuff up. I need to know because there's so much stuff on that website to download. I'm like, I don't know which one to download. Like, I don't know what rule book to download out of that, and then
We'll help
to
you
try
out
to figure
with
out the
that.
rule
Yeah.
book. So,
Jingles
I'll
will
need
probably
some help
set
with
you
that at
straight
some point.
after this.
I'll get you set up.
Yeah, the Paizo website
I
is not
appreciate it.
very well designed.
Yep. And Pieman's here. He knows it really well too, and he
Yeah.
can help us find the info that we need.
Yeah.
And
All right,
so
well, just send it to me so that way I know, and then we can get it to Crafting Cosplay as well. 'Cause I know she was excited about it. Now, I would like to do like a warrior, just because Jingo Vasco's bear character is so cool. I'd love to do like a warrior version of that race.
all right. Well, we will talk about that.
Oh, we have
but
stuff for that.
We gotta sign off now.
Yeah,
We've
yeah,
been
yeah.
going on for too long.
We got to go get shot up into space where we can trick Batman into thinking that we were going into space, but we're just going here to kill him.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Blow up
much,
Gotham City.
everybody, for coming along
Thank
with this
you.
wild ride with our special guest, Will Holland. We are the Mythos Podcast. I am Smiter Roscoe.
I am Jingles Roscoe.
There are some in these great expanses that have referred to me as the Pie Man.
This is Josh here. Stay chill.
Nice.
All right,
And I am
everybody.
the legend, the beast, and the guest host. You got the guest guy today, Will Holland.
All right, everybody. Thank
Yep.
you very much.
Thank
We'll catch you
you.
later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.